Welcome, everybody, to Season 3, Episode 1 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew. I make this show Midori, and I am joined tonight by the tech guru, Agent Vincent, 4756.
Oh, he got into my numbers. Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting into numbers and everything.
Getting into numbers now.
Oh, yeah. We also have the voice, Jersey Tom.
Good evening, everybody.
It did it again.
It did again.
Did
It
it go
did that
again?
thing where you dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, I dropped off a cliff because I'm just so loud.
You are so loud, the voice.
That's right,
a
Patricia.
fitting
We
name.
have dog stream tonight.
Yeah. What's the name of your dog?
This is little Luna. She's a Cavapoo.
Aw. That's
And
what I
she is
am.
the most
Did you know I have a
adorable-
Cavapoo too?
I did know that you
Bogey's a
have a Cavapoo.
Cavapoo, yeah.
I know he is.
I had
But
no idea we had
she
the
loves
same dog.
she loves people a little bit more than I think Bogey does.
Bogey loves people a pretty good amount. I don't know. Might have to turn this into a competition. Are you trying to say that Bogey Squad needs to be replaced? Is that what you're saying right now?
No, Bogey Squad does not need to be replaced with the Luna Legion. But if we want to
The
get that
Luna
going,
Legion. Is this like a
Yes.
thing on your channel that I don't know about?
we don't have the Luna Legion yet, but we can start building that if
Oh crap.
if you all love it. You guys let us know in the chat. Big F's if you love the Luna Legion.
The Luna Legion. I like it. I don't know.
We got the Ollie Corp. Ollie Corp can be a thing too. Ollie's sitting right here beside me, laying down actually.
Oh, love him.
Yeah, everybody's got to get on our Discord at discord.gg/thelevelupnetwork because we've got a good shot of Ollie in Selfie Love. This is my first time really
Yes.
getting a good shot of him.
Yeah, he's chilling out, same spot right now. He's kind of giving me the look. He might show up, make an appearance later today.
I feel like every time you talk about
good boy, we know that.
see, I don't know about that because every time Vince talks about Ollie, I feel like he's calling him a jerk.
Well, he's a jerk. He's a jerk. He's a lovable jerk. He barks at everything. He has to go outside all the time. And at the moment the sun is out, I need to go outside. I need outside. I need you to stay inside.
Speaking of
Especially when
dog
you're
pics,
trying.
we also got a very good shot of Denny's good boy Tank as the above ground pool has opened for him. So big shout out to Denny.
I'm trying to get mic levels figured out, so please, everybody in the chat, let me know if one of us is low. I feel like I lowered you too much, Tom. I'm overestimating how powerful the voice
Powerful
is.
that voice is.
The voice is
Shout.
extremely powerful, as everyone here knows.
I can't find it. I'm like trying to find your level, and I just can't. You're too powerful.
I've heard a rumor, Tom, that you shouted a man to death. Is this true?
There was once a time where I was playing Rainbow Six Vegas, and I did end up shouting a guy to death. That did happen.
Wow. That is true power right there.
I shouted
That is.
at him so much that he died and had to rage quit the game.
That sounds
All right.
sounds like he was a weakling to me. Is really what was
Yeah.
going on there.
Oh, you're 100% correct. I mean, look, if you can't handle this much testosterone and manliness, then
Yeah.
you just weren't meant for this gene.
You got to show it to the fragile soy boys of the world.
Yeah, clearly the soy boys playing Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we got a freaking awesome show tonight. Oh, first,
Oh my
let me
God,
say,
yeah,
I don't know if Mike is joining us, so we'll find out if
We
Mike is
hope that
joining
Mike's
us.
joining us tonight.
We hope Mike is joining us.
Absolutely.
We'll find out a little bit later on. But we do have a great episode tonight. We're going to be discussing PlayStation acquisitions. We're going to get into that Switch OLED versus the Steam Deck, Indie's hatred of the PlayStation, Netflix stepping into the gaming ring, and much, much more. If you enjoyed the show at any point, please follow us live at twitch.tv/thelevelupshow. Also, of course, follow Vince and Tom on their respective channels. They have their commands in chat. They're going to use it right now. Support those that support us. They're doing a wonderful job here on Next Level Gamescast, and they're on live on Twitch more often than I am at this point. So please give them the follow. If you're watching or listening to this episode tonight as an archive, subscribe on our YouTube, of course. And if you really enjoy the show, you can go above and beyond with a Twitch subscription, cheer, or tip. NLG After Show is a possibility tonight, up to 1 hour. That would usually be Vince and myself. So $30 in
absolutely.
tips. If we do hit that tonight, we'll do 30 minutes of after show. And if we get to the full 1 hour or sorry, it would be $60 in tips. That will be 1 hour after show, where we can just talk about anything. We can kind of elaborate more on what was a part of the agenda on the show, or we can dive into maybe some side stories that we didn't get to, or maybe you guys just want to talk about something non-gaming related. Really, it doesn't matter. It's up to you guys. It's really conversational on NLG After Show. If you'd like to learn more about that, just type in !After Show in the chat. Lastly, of course, NLG is a very interactive talk show. We utilize Discord in a major way. Join us at discord.gg/the Level Up Network. Become a part of this community even when I am not live. Or we're not live.
We're not live.
Yeah, all of us. All of us not live. First off, let me just say that we continue to be unstoppable forces of knowledge and intelligence within the gaming space. Guys, let's get into fake fans for the month. Of course, you guys can get on our Discord. As I just said, we have a hashtag fake fans channel where you can go and let us know anything that we got wrong in tonight's episode or previous episodes. You guys didn't do that. That's why we have now officially gone 4 episodes without error.
4.
It's 4,
Count
guys.
them.
Count them.
4.
That means, friends, that the bounty for finding any errors in the show has now been risen.
Yes! We do 250
now?
SP for every episode we go without error, which means that in the next episode, or really, if you guys were to find something in this episode, post it on our Discord. In the next episode, we will reward 1,000 seasonal points to that person. But you got to be first one to do it. You got to call us out first. So find something that we get wrong tonight, make it happen, get some of those seasonal points. We're still very early, of course. This is the first episode of season 3, focused on video game weapons and armor, which is pretty cool. Got all the good stuff on our Discord to learn about that. But yeah, we're very early on. Let's take a look in the chat. Let's see who's the top score right now. Top score goes to King Kurtz 757 with 6,110 points.
King
And of
Kurtz
course,
always very good.
of course, combining hours and SP there to determine that. Evil Resonance in second place and Tobes in third place, doing very well because of hours. He's always lurking. That Tobes. You never know when he's not here or is here. We actually have an exciting announcement to start off with tonight. Before we get into gaming stuff, before we get into what we've been playing, all that kind of stuff, we have listened to you guys, and you want more of us, is what we've heard. One more.
You like us. You really like us.
Yes, that's what we're hearing. And I get it. This is something we thought about from the very beginning. NLG is once a month, of course, and that creates a pretty major gap for a lot of gaming news to fill in that time. And you guys want to have some type of interlude, it seemed to us, based on some of the things you said in Vince's stream and what was posted on our Discord in the suggestions and feedback channel. So we're not going to add on another video talk show like this.
Yeah.
We're not giving you 2 episodes of Next Level Gamescast a month. But what we are going to do is we are going to take advantage of Discord in another major way. They have something now called stage channels, and they're actually really cool. It's audio only, so that's important to know. But what's really cool about it is that everybody listening in on a stage channel has the opportunity to raise their hand and call in. And we looked at it and we're like, this could be a way of going old school, the Level Up show, and really allowing you guys to have a conversation with us. And that was one of the things we really decided from the very beginning is Next Level Direct, as we're going to call it. And you guys might remember that as an homage to Level Up Direct, something I did way back in the day. Next Level Direct will be very, very conversational. There's not going to be much of an agenda. We'll come in with maybe 3 topics that we want to talk about, but those topics might tangent into many different areas. We're not going to hold it to that necessarily. We're going to really allow this to be something that flows organically on Next Level Direct. Now, if we have 3 topics that we're tackling, the idea is that at the end of each of those topics, we would open up the floor, allow somebody to raise their hand, ask a question, and then at the very end of Next Level Direct, we're going to allow a 15-minute question and answer segment where hopefully we can get like 5, 6, 7 questions from you guys listening in on Discord and make it feel more interactive than ever. So all that in total will be about a 1 hour long audio show. something that we're really going to treat as a podcast, something that we are going to put up on our iTunes and our Spotify, something more consumable, something we've realized that we're having a hard time with Next Level Gamescast on Spotify and iTunes. They're 3 hours long, sometimes 3.5 hours long. That is not a very consumable podcast. So Next Level Direct is another answer to that problem. So we're really excited about that. And the very first episode of Next Level Direct will be on August 8th. That is the second Sunday of that month, and that will be the way it goes moving forward. The second Sunday of every month will be Next Level Direct, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be replacing that first hour of my game stream for that Sunday, but then I will go straight from Next Level Direct, go live on Twitch. Hopefully you guys will follow me over to Twitch, and we'll do a somewhat shorter game stream on that second Sunday of the month. So considering that, we don't want to continue doing Next Level Gamescast on the third Sunday of every month. We want to give them that 2-week spacer. So Next Level Gamescast will become the fourth Sunday of every month, as it is this month. So it kind of works. So fourth Sunday of every month for Next Level Gamescast moving forward. And hopefully it'll allow us to stay on top of the news a little better and give you guys the content that you so desperately crave.
And tell your friends.
Yes. We know that it's something, considering it's Discord exclusive, we know it's something that's going to take time to grow. We're not expecting 40 viewers or listeners on the first episode of Next Level Direct. Honestly, we'd be happy if we get 5 of you there. But, you know, that's why we're going to need you guys to spread the word, get on our Discord, and pay attention to the schedule, and hopefully be there, and hopefully take part. You know, maybe we'll there's something we're going to figure out as we go along, but maybe we'll share the topics, like the 3 topics that we want to discuss on Next Level Direct before the episode happens. That way maybe you guys can prepare some questions, and at the end of the topics you are ready to raise your hand and call in. And as I said, at the end, the 15-minute segment is really anything and everything. I think we're probably going to want to keep it video game focused, but honestly, if it veers off into some other entertainment media, I really wouldn't mind too much if it gets into some movies and TV,
I mean,
especially if it's video game movies and TV.
Drew, it's like Drew's been saying. This is going to be a very kind of like let your hair down kind of moment where we're going to be very. I feel like it's going to be a good way for us to be very casual with the community, and be able to talk with you guys and be able to talk about whatever we happen to be interested that week. So I mean, if we're like really all hyped up on the new Marvel What If series that's coming out. That might be something that we talk about. We could be talking about the new He-Man series that just got dropped on Friday. Anything that we find that we are really enjoying, that we want to share with you, the community, something maybe that you guys are hype about, that you would like us to talk about. We'd be more than willing to listen to you guys and want to like interact with you guys on that level.
Accommodate you and your needs. Yes.
Yeah.
We know how needy you guys are, of course.
Derek, you can absolutely ask Vince why we're here.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I have audio hooks turned off, but just in case, don't do it. But yes, we're really excited about Next Level Direct. We hope you guys can be there for the first episode. Mark your calendars, August 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, on Discord at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. When a stage channel goes live, it's kind of cool. It does say it at the top of the server. Like you don't have to like go down to the stage channel. It'll be right at the top. It'll say we're live. We're talking with you all, and and keep in mind that it's something that is definitely going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
It's an exciting venture that we're more than excited to share with you all.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say, considering that you guys are amazing. I can see already how many subs we've had tonight. We had Trish come in with the tier 1. We had Store with the tier 1. Derek tier 2. Tom tier 1. Imperial Rose gifting subs. We're already at 5. We're halfway there on the daily sub goal. And if you guys didn't know, the way we work it here on Next Level Gamescast is we have dedicated wheel spin segments during our commercial breaks. So just wait for those moments and we'll give you your seasonal points and celebrate how amazing you guys are as a community. Right now, we are going to move on to one of my favorite segments of Next Level Gamescast, where we get to test the knowledge of Vince and Tom.
Your might.
Not Mike tonight. It's called NLG's Got Game. Pretty much what has become video game Jeopardy. And I have some very exciting news for Vince and Tom tonight.
I'm not ready for this.
NLG's Got Game.
No music hooks for us to fail on?
No. Real money is on the line tonight, guys.
Oh.
What?
Real money is on the line tonight. Courtesy of White Topaz Sherry, we have a $25. Honestly, I'm just going to Venmo it to you or PayPal to you. So really, whatever you want to use it on is yours. But whoever wins NLG's Got Game tonight gets $25.
Ooh, that's sweetening the pot here.
Raising the stakes.
Stakes
So a big
raised.
thank you
I don't
to,
do well with
to White
pressure.
Topaz. All right, so you guys go to
That could be a whole 2
PlayFactal.
cocktails for me.
You guys go to playfactal.com/join if
ready.
you're not there already. And we're going to have 2 teams tonight. I was really hoping to have Mike here so we can make this even more exciting, really battle it out. We're going to
That's
play
how I
in
win.
buzzer mode. And your code tonight, guys, is 9091.
9091, you said.
9091.
I still have that stupid face.
No, that's
Glorious. All right. Let's put it up. on
Real
the big
quick, to
screen.
my Dark Passenger, yes, new setup. I am moved into my new place.
Sorry, guys,
We got a nice spiffy little spot. Also, courtesy, big help to my lovely lady. Appreciate her and everything that she has brought to the table. So yes,
I have no idea
new
what I'm
setup,
looking at
new
right
look.
What did you do?
I'm
You
looking
broke
at
it.
all of you guys like multiple times right now, and I don't know. why.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Inception. Tomception.
You guys asked for more us, and we are delivering.
I'm
more
giving
us.
it to you, obviously. Let me figure out why, though. There it is. I figured it out. Okay. Okay, here we go. Where do I want you? Do I want you in the bottom left or the upper right?
Where do you want us?
I want you everywhere, obviously, as we just found
clearly,
out.
yes.
Clearly, I want you guys everywhere.
But once again, at least I will be staying on the Factal website, so we will not be getting any help from the
Yes.
audience.
Yeah,
Yes,
Twitch
yes.
chat for me is
We'll be doing the
minimized
same.
completely and out of
Feel-
the way.
Feel free, chat, if you want to participate and join in. Please go ahead. Me and Vince will not be looking at the chat, so we will not be swayed by your answers.
Meaning you could answer in the chat. You can't actually join the game. This is just between
Don't
Tom
join
and
the
Vince,
game.
but you can
Yeah, yeah.
answer in the chat. So here we go, guys. Next Level Gamescast Season 3, Episode 1 of NLG's Got Game. We have 5 categories once again. The first category, I did bring back music, but I understand you guys aren't the best at this. So
Yes.
it is now the music of PlayStation.
Okay.
So what that means is only games that are considered closely associated with PlayStation, and at the least that means that it was timed exclusive. And for
Right.
most of these, even more so, like full-on exclusives, IPs, first party, but there are a couple of timed exclusives in there as well. So that should narrow it down. I think it'll help you guys in the music of PlayStation. Category number 2, Vince's strong point, but I want to balance you guys out here. Vince's strong point, video game developer 3. Of course, I will simply say a video game. You must say the developer, and that is the primary developer. I know some games have multiple. We're talking about the primary developer. This is where it gets balanced out. The one that Tom is better at, based on our previous episode, Who's the Boss? Part 2.
I'm a big fan of villains, as True knows.
So I will say the final boss of a video game, you must buzz in and tell me which video game that is.
Okay.
We're returning Who Am I? 4 factoids for a video game character. I'm going to ask you guys when I click on those not to really look at the list yourselves, if you would listen, like just kind of abide by my rules here, because of course the facts become more specific as they go down, and unfortunately I cannot limit it to show each fact slowly. So I will read them off and you guys just listen to me as I say them. Okay.
Fair.
And then finally, fan favorite, Blurred Box Art 5 makes its return. All right.
God.
So the last episode, Tom won.
Dominated.
Tom won.
Dominated.
Dominated on the last one. Yes, that was Tom's first win. I think, if I remember right, I think 3 episodes have gone to Vince and 1 has gone to Tom.
One has gone to me. Vince, season wise has been kicking all our butts. But yes, I finally broke the drought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom, you are the returning champion. That means that you get to choose the first category.
Okay, I will go with a blurred box art for 5.
Oh my. It's a toughie. I will admit, this is a toughie.
Shit.
Oh no, I know this.
Oh my
By my
God.
language.
Holy crap, Tom. Go ahead.
Blanks.
Wow, you are
Wow.
correct.
Yes.
Blinks the
Wow.
time sweeper. I cannot believe you got that. Way to go, man. Way to go.
Way to go, Tom.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tom. Continuing.
That's how much of a nerd I am. All right, we're gonna go blurred box art 5. I'm already feeling for 4.
For
We're gonna
4,
go
yes.
For 4.
Tom.
Damn.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yes.
Nice job.
Tom off to a good start. Could have went for the 4, but it's okay.
I could have mentioned 4. Yes.
It's okay. Go ahead, Tom.
If you wanted me to be more specific, I would have been.
Yes.
Okay, let's go for 3.
Oof.
Oof. Oof.
Vince.
World of Warcraft.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Way to go. Vince
Fair.
takes control. Go ahead, Vince.
All right, let's do 200.
Ooh, it's close, but Tom buzzed in first.
Yeah.
What is Uncharted 4?
Give me the subtitle.
A Thief's End.
Good job.
There you
just
go.
because. Just because.
Yes. That's fair. That's very fair that you want me to be more specific. I'm more than willing to abide by that.
Tom, back in control.
Okay. Let's go. Let's clear it out. 100.
Tom.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yes.
Nice job, Tom.
Way to go, Tom.
I love
Off to
this
a very good
category.
start. Vince
like,
is
that
on the board, though.
By far and away my favorite category.
Okay. Go ahead, Tom. Where are we moving?
All right. Oof. All right. Let's go with Who's the Boss Part 2 for 300.
Garam, the first hunter. Tom.
What is Bloodborne?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Tom continues. Go.
Let's go. I mean, technically speaking, the last boss is actually the Moon Presence, but we'll forget about that.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go with Who's the Boss for Part 2 for 400.
Okay. Floey, the flower. Tom.
What is Undertale?
That is correct. Vince, do you want that $25 or not? Gotta start fighting. Tom, go ahead.
I'm trying to clear up all the categories that I know. I want to build a lead for when Vince decides to take me out.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the Boss Part 2 for 2?
You Yevon.
Oof.
Why does that name sound familiar?
No, it's totally familiar, but I don't know the exact.
No more may no.
Oh.
Ray and Billy.
I feel like I should know this.
You should know this. You guys suck.
Yeah, I'm not good.
It is Final Fantasy X.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah,
I was
that's
gonna say,
bad
it's all
job
good.
by me.
Yeah, I was. You honestly, you cued me in with the music, Drew, and I was like, that kind of feels like cheating. So
Yeah.
No,
Go
it's
ahead,
fine.
Tom.
So it kind of,
Look, Vince, you and I both had the same opportunity for that.
yeah.
All right, so let's go for 100.
Okay. Mother Brain. Tom.
What is Metroid?
I didn't even have a time. I didn't even have a chance to even click that.
I'm gonna say no.
Jeez.
Wait, what?
Needed to be
What?
a little better than that.
What?
Excuse you?
In my knowledge, it is not Metroid. It is Super Metroid.
Oh shit.
Well, you answered the question for Vince.
The time ran
Oh,
out.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit.
Am
Oh,
I
my
not
bad.
correct?
I don't know how I feel about this.
Are you a fake fan?
I mean, am I correct on that? I'm pretty sure it's
No,
Super
I'm
Metroid.
pretty sure-
Metroid
no,
has
I'm
a
pretty sure
doesn't Metroid
Mother-
have a different final boss than Super Metroid?
Well, no, it's also Mother Brain again in Super Metroid.
If that's correct,
It's
I
just a
will
different- it's just
award
a-
you the points.
It's just a different version of Mother Brain because
Can somebody in the
Super
chat help us
Metroid-
out here?
Super Metroid is when she's like that T-Rex kind of thing, but
Mhm.
regular Metroid is when she's in the capsule, when she's in that like glass case.
She was seen as the main antagonist in Metroid, Super Metroid, and Metroid Zero Mission. She is also seen in a flashback during Metroid Other M.
Which one is she the final boss in, though?
She's the final boss in Metroid. It's not Ridley. Ridley is a mid-boss.
Okay.
I'm looking
I'm just
now.
gonna trust you on this. It seems like he's pretty certain, so I'm gonna add the 100 to Tom. 200 actually,
Yeah,
because
no,
I removed.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. 200 goes to Tom. I will allow it. I apologize. I thought Super Metroid was the specific answer. Go ahead, Tom. You're up.
All right, let's clean out that category and go for 5.
Okay. Malice.
Oof. Big oof.
This is a big oof. I agree.
Name does not ring a bell to me whatsoever.
It's one of those that I think I know, but I don't want to be wrong because I'm so far ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You have no reason to take risks right now. It is Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna
okay. So that's one of
the big tower boss at the end.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's go. Who am I for 3? And
Okay.
I will not be looking at the clues, closing my eyes.
Okay. This is a daily double.
Oh, daily double.
So it's worth double, 600 on the line. My personality and likeness is based on Johnny Knoxville and Harrison Ford. I am terrified of clowns. I first killed a man when I was 15 years old, but I've gone on to kill many, many more. My initials match the studio that created me. Vince.
Who is Nathan Drake?
That is correct.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's good. I like that. That was a big help to you there, Vince. Got $600.
That was a big help. You got him right back in it.
Yeah, go ahead. You're up now, Vince.
Let's do Who Am I for 200.
Okay.
Close my eyes.
Cameron Diaz stepped down from playing me in a movie. I am named after my real-life creator's sister. My partner in duty was killed by my now arch rival. Tom?
Who is Laura Croft?
Incorrect. I have been voiced by Jennifer Hale, Jennifer Carpenter, and Ronda Rousey.
Oh, no. Now I know I should have waited.
Oh,
It's too late, though, unfortunately.
Oh, I should have
The
waited.
answer is
shit.
Sonya Blade.
I was like,
Yep. Nope,
I had a
it
moment
was-
there where I was like, I was ready to go for Cassie Cage, and I was like, no, that's
That's
not
why.
correct.
That's
man.
that's the
the voice
exact
actresses-
reason. That's the exact reason I tell you guys not to look, because the final factoid is like the giveaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have told me. That's
Yeah.
a good reason why I should close my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Go
Let's
ahead,
do
Vince.
100.
Okay. I have not aged throughout the franchise I belong to. I've actually only appeared in one video game in the franchise. In Japan, my name is Satoshi. I want to be the very best. Vince.
Shit. Fuck. Is Red from Pokemon.
I'm going to need a little better than that. Tom, go ahead.
Oh my God, better than that. Ash Ketchum.
Yes, it has to be
Okay.
Ash Ketchum, because he has only actually appeared in one Pokemon video game, which was like Puzzle League or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not
Oh.
actually the main like that's the twist.
Oh well. Thank
Okay.
you, Vince,
No.
for getting my original answer.
You're welcome. 'Cause I was like, wait a minute, time out. No, that's cool. Awesome.
Yes. Go ahead, Tom, you take control.
All right, you know what? Let's mix it up here. Let's go the music of PlayStation for 4.
Okay. Vince.
It's Kara's theme from Detroit, Become Human.
That is correct. And he likes
Wow,
to.
that's
He's
really
showing
good,
off.
dude.
He's saying the name and everything. Look at him go.
Holy crap! Good for you, man.
All right.
I only know that because I love that type of...
This
Yeah.
battle is becoming closer. I like it. Go ahead, Vince.
Let's do music of PlayStation for 300.
Unfortunately, you guys are out of time.
What is it? I'm pissed.
It is Eco.
Yeah.
God damn it. I was like, I know those...
Yeah. Go ahead,
Alright.
Vince. You're still up?
Yep, 200 for music of PlayStation. I'm sorry.
Vince.
The best is yet to come, Metal Gear Solid 1.
That is correct.
Yep.
Good job. Vince,
is correct.
continuing on.
Let's do 500 now.
Oh no, I know this.
Fuck. Pardon my language. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. I know it, but I don't
What
know.
is this?
I know, I remember that theme. Just tell me what it is.
It is Nino Cooney, Wrath
Yes,
of the White
I
Witch.
knew it was Nino Cooney.
And Vince.
Let's just do 100. Let's close
I'm
it out.
so angry that I didn't.
Yeah, that was $500. It was a big one. All right, $100.
Marvel Spider-Man.
That is correct. Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh man, I could have taken it away if I just said Nino Cooney.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Vince.
Let's do video game developer for 300.
Tom, you must be nervous right now.
I am nervous.
It's anyone's game.
There's a schwitz going right now.
All right, what was the value there?
300, please.
300. South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Shit.
Oh my god. And I played it a lot.
I know the publisher. I cannot remember.
I played
the
this
name.
a lot. I
cannot
even
remember the developer.
streamed the game.
I know the
Oh,
publisher.
Tom's going for it.
We go with Ubisoft?
No, I'm sorry. That's publisher.
Yeah, it's the publisher.
Ah!
Who is it?
It is Obsidian Entertainment.
Obsidian.
Of course it was Obsidian.
Yeah.
I wanted to say it, and I
Yep.
was so nervous. I was like, hold up, wait a minute.
Well, now
Yep.
it's really close.
Yes, it is.
All right,
Go ahead,
let's
Vince.
do 200 video game developers.
Brutal Legend. Tom,
Who is Double Fine?
that is correct.
Really?
Yep, that was Double Fine.
Cool.
Tim
I
Schafer.
have no idea.
Tim Schafer, dude. That was a big Tim Schafer game.
Yep.
Really?
Tom takes control.
Cool. All right, let's go with Who Am I for 5.
Okay. Eyes closed. I am a silent protagonist. I am 13 years old. I have a younger sister named Tracy. I can use yo-yos as a melee weapon.
Use yo-yos. Who uses yo-yos?
Time is technically up.
Yeah.
So
all right,
the answer
I'm
is Ness.
Ness.
It's
Of course
sad
it
that I
is.
wanted to do that. I wanted to do it, but I'm so worried about risking that. And I was like, nope.
Yeah, you
not
guys
doing
are
it.
really nervous right now. I could tell.
No, that wasn't nervous. I was really like racking my brain of who uses yo-yos for a weapon in a video
The
game.
13.
I didn't want to say home run bat because I felt like that would have given it away too easily. So I
Home
went
run
with the
bat
yo-yos
would have
instead.
absolutely given it to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 4. Let's
Okay.
take it out.
I share the same voice actor as Bender from Futurama. My last
Okay.
name is inspired by my rise from the ashes of my failed marriage. The scar on my face is from when I was a prisoner and was attacked by dogs. Dave Bautista wants to play me in the film adaptation. Tom,
Who is Marcus Phoenix?
that is correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't remember the last name. I knew the first name, could not remember the last name. Damn it.
Tom takes a $700 lead, which means it's getting really close. Don't forget, we do have Final Jeopardy, though.
And it's still anyone's game right
Yes.
It is. It's
Go
anyone's
ahead,
now.
Tom.
Okay, let's do video game developer for 1.
Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Vince,
Sumo Entertainment.
that is right.
Sumo. I'm sorry.
Sumo, yes.
Yeah.
Sumo Digital, Sumo Entertainment.
Sumo
I'll take
Digital.
it. That's
Even
fine.
I will say give it to him.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, Vince.
Let's do 400.
Sleeping Dogs.
Oof. Oof, I knew this.
I know the publisher. Again,
I
developer.
also know the publisher. Oh my god, and I can see the logo too, which is what kills me. I know the logo, but I don't know the name.
Nobody.
Oh, see, now I'm messing up with the remaster now too. Now I'm
Okay,
getting. Ooh, I'm blurred.
you're out of time. It is United Front Games.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
they're
Because the logo itself is like very like communist
It's
propaganda,
square.
where like
It's
everybody's
square
like,
and 3 people.
Yeah.
They're gone now, right? They're under, right?
yeah, I think
I actually
they're
don't know.
I don't think they exist anymore. I'm pretty sure they don't.
This
It
is
was
not
like
a
one
fake
of those
fan
games
moment.
that's such a cult classic that it was good to everybody who played it, but not enough people actually bought the game.
Bought the game, right? All right, let's do 500. Let's close it out.
This would bring it very close if you can get this, Vince. It is XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Ooh, yeah,
Vince.
Fraxis.
Yes. Praxis Games, which makes this a very
Jesus.
tight game right now. $2,100 versus $2,200. Tom with a very light lead. We are waiting for wagers. Can you guys see the question right now?
Yeah.
You can. Okay.
I cannot see the question. I have no idea what the question is. It just says final factal time.
Oh, I guess you're probably looking at my camera then, aren't you?
I'm looking at I'm looking at multi-monitor, so I have yours up there. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I cannot see it. So should I just look up
I'm
and see
not-
what the question is? Just,
I think since
haven't
Vince
even-
saw it, you should as well, Tom. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't read it.
Can you
but
just
it's totally
say
fine.
what the question is? Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, I see it. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Sega Enterprises Limited was established in 1965, and Sega is actually the shortened version of this original company name.
Vince has put in his wager, and so has Tom. I will say it again. Sega Enterprises Ltd. was established in 1965. But Sega is actually the shortened version of this original company name. Let's display the wagers. Oh, wow. What are you doing, Vince? He did... Okay, he did 0 and Tom...
Because I don't know it.
did
Oh, sure.
did 100. Which
Yeah,
means
I
that
don't
if
know it.
Tom gets this wrong, it's a tie
I'm
game.
getting it wrong because I don't know what it is.
Oh
I don't
my
know what it
god! This is what?
No, guys, I have no idea. Absolutely zero idea.
Tom's answer is
I had no idea that Vince had no idea. And that he was just
Sega
gonna go-
Toshi Electronics. That is the wrong answer. We have a tie game.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, I don't know. What's up, bud?
Oh my god, you're such a jerk for saying nothing, for
my-
wagering
guys.
nothing. You have to wager
Service games.
Is that a
Service
rule that I have
games.
to wager something?
something.
No, you don't have to
Should.
wager anything. You can wager
Oh
zero.
my-
You're allowed
no,
to wager
I'm-
0. That is 100% allowed.
I was
You're-
gonna
Oh my
say if
God.
that is not, then take the 100 away, and then that way.
No,
Tom is the
you are
winner.
100% allowed to wager 0. That is
Oh, okay.
allowed. Which means
Okay.
that's wow. How did this happen? How did this happen on the episode where you guys are fighting for $25? How the hell does that happen? What do we do? Do we wait for next month?
I say we wait for next month.
I think we
it's
wait for
just-
next month.
it's
But
just
Mike
drama.
might be there next month.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. Mike
That's
could be
fine.
the upset.
Good for Mike.
Yeah.
All right, the $25 stays. We wait another month.
Buddy.
What a great battle. A great battle. Way
Yeah.
to go, guys. That was good. That was
Nice
a
job,
good
Tom.
Yeah,
Round.
Congratulations, Vince.
video game Jeopardy right there. You
There we
both
go.
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
There,
this,
it
is,
wasn't
this, has
completely
become,
wrong.
Wins,
like
nobody
last time.
wins.
this has
Yeah.
become quite epic. That was, I think that was my favorite NLG's Got game yet. That might be.
There we go. It's because it was drama. It was.
There was a
drama
lot of
filled.
drama there. You guys really brought it. I'm excited. Got like half chub right now. I'm really excited by that. All right. Moving on. Let us get into what we've been playing this month. I've actually been playing the same game that Tom has been playing, although I have been focusing on the main story, going through hard
Yes.
mode once again for the 4th time. I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. Tom,
Which I'll be doing at some point. I will be going back with the main game. I would really actually like to play the main game with my girlfriend. I would like to give her a shot to see the story of that. I think she would enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's a very entertaining story to watch unfold, and I've noticed that in chat, a lot of people really enjoyed watching it that have never experienced Final Fantasy VII or really Final Fantasy
It's
in
so
general.
amazing that there's so many people who don't have any sort of reference point for Final Fantasy VII. It's amazing to me that is the case.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is by far the greatest as far as recognition JRPG in like a worldwide stance. I'd say
Right.
especially in the West. I'd say in Japan it's like more like Dragon Quest versus Final Fantasy But here in the West, without a doubt, it's all Final Fantasy. But I want to ask you, how'd you feel about Intermission, man? Now that you finally finished it, how'd you feel about the combat and Yuffie and the ending? And
Intermission was fun. It was just enough Yuffie before she gets annoying.
How dare
I
you?
thought, because a lot of people were like quick to say that she was annoying. I didn't find her annoying. I thought it was just enough before she got to the really before it started to become annoying. I thought Fort Condor was actually like a really good addition.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, Fort Condor is fun.
I really enjoyed Fort Condor. It made me think a lot. I mean, especially that last one with what's his face?
Damn Chadley.
Chadley, dude.
The Grandmaster.
Chadley throwing all those barracks at you and just like absolutely just trying to flood the screen with all of his reinforcements.
Somebody gets it now. Somebody gets it.
It is a because on the surface, when you first look at that battle, it does not seem like it's going to be a very difficult one. And then all of a sudden, he just like starts throwing everything at you. And it's just like, dude, you got to be on top of your stuff, and you have to make sure that you take out those barracks before they have a chance to get everybody reinforced in there. Otherwise,
in all honesty, when I play through Intermission on hard mode, I'm looking up a freaking guide to beating him on hard mode because he was such a bitch on normal that I don't even want to mess around with him on hard.
Oh, dude, no, I do not look forward to doing my hard playthrough of that. I really do not.
No, see, what I said on the show, and I don't know if you were there for it, but I thought Yuffie was so much fun to play as, but when I look at her in context of everybody else and their systems, she feels so OP. The way she can so quickly move from close quarters melee to distance, being able to use elemental attacks without using any materia or MP, or even using ATB. She can do that without even using ATB. And it's kind of insane how strong she is.
The fact that she can use her ninjutsu to enable to do elemental damage without having to cast a spell.
Yep.
Without you having to throw in materia, that is super open. Like, they're gonna have to rethink her for part 2. Because right now, as it stands, she has to be a permanent member of your team.
100%. Like, I'm never going to remove her from my party because she's great for aerial enemies. You can throw your shuriken, and then you can like teleport pretty much like Noctis style to the enemy. She is amazing for aerial, which is, I think, great. It's something I talked to Vince about. One of the weaknesses, for sure, right, Vince, of main story is that unless you have Barret or Aerith in your party, Tifa and Cloud suck on aerial enemies. But now that we have 3 characters, Barret, Aerith, and Yuffie especially, that are great with aerial combat, you'll probably have at least one of them in your party at all times, which will make it so that you always have that person to switch to when you have an aerial enemy that you're focused on. Kind of like Final Fantasy X, where, hey, we got a flyer, I need Waka in my party. Get him throw my blitzball. So I think that's really cool. They're really building out
your aerial enemies, brother.
They're really building out the roster in a cool way, combat-wise, to make it so that every enemy type you're going to have somebody, right? Which I think is really cool. I loved Scarlet. I thought she was great. That battle against
Scarlet was very well done in this.
Yeah.
I loved her personification. Dude, like, shut up, everything, nothing else matters. I screamed when I saw Deep Ground.
Dude, it wasn't bad though, right? It wasn't bad.
As soon as I saw Deep Ground in there, I was just like,
he's screaming so loud it's cutting him out. Dude, but tell me, am I wrong though?
Hated me.
Am I wrong? It wasn't bad. They actually did a pretty good job with it, right?
No, it was so good, but like everybody who's playing that game who has no reference to Dirge of Cerberus is looking at those scenes and they're like, what the F is going on? Like, who is this dude with the white hair? What is happening here?
See, I'll say I don't remember Dirge of Cerberus at all, and I have no real attachment to it because I'm actually not a huge Vincent fan. He's fine. He's just not my favorite.
Thanks.
Sorry. But what I'm getting at
really
here
feel.
is, like, when they introduce Nero and Vice, like, I don't know those characters, but I kind of ascertained like that they are sort of experiments of, Hojo or the underground. Like, I was able to ascertain that information just fine, and that's really all you need to know is, like, we're in the underground. This is where Shinra experiments happen, and these 2 enemy types are experiments of Shinra. And that's really all you need. I thought the battle with Nero was really exciting. What did you think of Sonon? I actually got pretty attached to him for such a short period of time. I cared about
Sorry,
him. We lost you there, Tom.
What'd you say?
I said, how'd you feel about Sonon? I actually got pretty attached to him for such a short period of time.
Yo, Sonon, I feel like that is the most feel bad portion of that of intermission. I
got a little misty eyed. I won't lie.
Yeah, dude. Like, I want a prequel game that focuses on Sonon. Because
I think he's going to come back. I don't know about you, but I have a feeling he's going to come back, considering how he kind of left the game.
Considering this, how he left, and considering what this remake is doing, I wouldn't put it past them. But I can fully see a future where he does not show up again, and I think that's a damn shame because they actually did make a very good character that works as a new addition into the Final Fantasy VII mythos that I would like to know more about and spend more time with.
Yeah, we don't really know a lot of Wutaian, characters from 7. You, of course, have Yuffie's father, but that really is it. So to have some more Wutaians...
They spend a deal of time referencing.
Yeah, right. The Wutai War is obviously a major focus of 7 Remake. They're going to embellish on that in a way they never did before. So having more of those Wutaian soldiers and thieves and things of that nature, I think will allow us to understand the lore of that land. Yeah. Because we're not going to get to Wutai in part 2, I would imagine. I think they even said that in interviews, that Wutai is still a little ways away. So this was a good way to bridge that gap, start building lore, start building history, and also just a genius way for them to start building out the combat system of Sid, with his spear and such. So they already have the groundwork laid, and they also have the synergy system laid too, where they can have dual combat moves where you have 2 characters working together. And I would imagine, and I hope they do, have synergy with 3 characters. If you can get all 3 characters with like ATB at 2, have it so that there is a trio move that you could do. That would be so exciting to see unfold.
Yeah, look, if they decide to go full Chrono Trigger with it,
exactly,
and actually have you have those team up moves, I will be ecstatic with that. I think it's a great addition into it and focuses really on the team makeup that you have in there. Because if you're going to do that, that means you're also going to be throwing in a bunch of combination moves with all the different combination of characters that you're going to have in there. And assuming you're going to go up to the point where you're going to at least get Vincent in there, you're going to have some sort of combination between, like, would be 6 characters at that point?
Yeah, it would.
Because the next one's going to have Kate Sith.
It will. The next one will have Kate Sith. The next one will obviously have Yuffie, and that would be enough, right?
Then I would assume that they would do Vincent, but it's possible.
I think they'll set up Vincent. I wouldn't be surprised if Vincent becomes the intermission between 2 and 3.
It would be possible because we're going to be able to get to play Red 13 in the next one. So so that they may consider that to be the second character that you're given a chance to play as.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, they have so much still to go, and we could talk about this forever. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was a really nice interlude to fill that gap as we wait for part 2. Mike is not here, so we're going to skip over his discussion on New World, unless any of you guys played New World.
I played it today, but I don't. We're not really going to talk about it. 5 hours, really cool, but let's move on a little bit.
Yeah, let's move on to Prey Moon Crash.
Yeah, and again, I'm actually going to just blow through this because it's this was kind of a game for me that was it's an added mode they added in about half a year after the original game released. As you guys know, when we talked about Game of Decades and everything like that, Prey 2017 was one of my, not like I had an honorable mention for it because that game is phenomenal. It's very buggy, but it's very phenomenal. So Moon Crash takes that entire approach and puts it in a roguelike type situation. And I was kind of playing this just to kind of get a feel for like what they're going to do with Deathloop. So you essentially unlock 5 survivors in this mode. And each survivor has an objective they got to go through to do first. So that way you unlock their story objectives. So you get all this story, and there's like a lot of reading. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's additive to the main gameplay. So the unfortunate thing was on my stream, no one had seen that game. So like I'm playing this, people were like, well, what is going on? And for me, it was just it was like therapy a little bit for me. It was kind of playing that right when that time when like a lot of things was just being rough with work and a couple personal things, and I had a blast though. It was fun.
Nice.
So Drew, if you've never played Prey,
I
I actually
haven't.
say you should actually look into that at some point. It's a buggy game. I'm gonna let you know right now. And now, since now Arcane is now owned by Microsoft, the PS4 version really hasn't gotten an update at all. I do know it got like backwards compatibility boost and like FPS boost on the Xbox Series consoles, but I gotta say, man, a horror game that has it's an immersive sim. So it's got this whole system of like you're picking objects, you're reading things, you're kind of figuring stuff out. Like one of the very first enemies you learn in this game is called a mimic, and they can mimic anything. So you might walk into a room and you might see that cup. That's like that cup wasn't there last time. That's a mimic,
It's like Gary's
And there's
mod.
also yeah. So I mean, that's actually a really cool thing about it. I'm not kidding. But what's cool about it is like you have mods that you put in so that way you can get different skills and everything like that. And there's a cool twist there. There's human ones and then there's Typhon ones, which is Typhon is like the main alien thing there. And you do more Typhon materials, you'll get a nightmare that follows you throughout the entire game. So
Okay.
it's a
Maybe it'll
very
be a
interesting game.
Shocktober thing? How long is it?
It's long.
Oh, okay.
Well, I want to say it's long because it's one of those. You're reading things, right? You're kind of have to pissing
Who
like
reads? Come on, man.
well, you have to
Yeah, I
kind of
got
put
time
things
for
some parts
reading.
together. And then the other thing too is it's very approachable and how do you handle this? Like, say his door's locked. Well, if you put skills in the hacking, you could hack it. Don't have the skills in hacking, you might need to go find a vent. Don't have the ability to actually lift and make things to get up to the vent, you might need to go find that key card, and that might be a boss fight.
Hmm.
It's one of
Okay.
those. It's one of those in the space station type deals to where, as you play, you'll start learning more things there. It's really cool.
Glad you liked it. Tom, you played one other thing. Started at least. One
I
other thing.
started one other thing. For those who saw me, I was doing my test of my new webcam, and I was doing a little bit of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I only got a few hours in, but thus far I'm loving it. I think it's an excellent addition thus far. I love that opening sequence where they're going through all the previous games on a parade float situation. But I think Rivet is an amazing addition into the mythos. I haven't. I know a lot of people have said that they prefer to play as Rivet versus Ratchet. I haven't gotten to that point yet where I can make that determination. But I think this is a really great addition into this, and I would like to see. It makes me want, honestly, to get some more of those old school PlayStation platformers and thrown into a more modern setting, or at least done anew now with the technology that we have now. So this is making me really wish I had a Sly Cooper, for instance, Jack and Daxter. Like, it's really making me feel like I want one of those things. There's Crash 4, obviously, that exists right now, that I still haven't got my hands on. I'm getting around to eventually playing Crash 4, but I mean, when I play this game, I just think, look, there is still very much a market for this type of game and for this experience that is very old school in some respects, but can be brought into this newer era of a 4K, of getting up to 60 frames per second, of getting all these wonderful graphics, great settings. I think there's a lot of room for these games to exist, and I think PlayStation, if they are smart and they want to, well, I mean, I'm saying that honestly, and it might be a little bit unfair, but to me, I feel like that this is definitely an area where I think they should focus on giving their older audience, people like me, people like you, Drew, people like Vince, who may have kids, who may have younger people with them within their families, to a great addition in order to like show them, look, you got to use your mascots while you have them. You absolutely do. And Nintendo's got Mario, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, all of that. I think they really need to focus in on using these characters in more games.
Yeah, I have a feeling Astro is really going to become a major mascot.
Astro has been a very good addition to them, but I think that these games, and this very much goes in within the Astro purview of being like a third-person platformer that I think really works well, and I think that a lot of younger fans, as well as older fans who
Mhm.
remember that style of gameplay when it was first introduced, when like 3D games first started becoming a thing. I think this would be a great addition and a continuing addition onto the PlayStation catalog. I think they need to focus in on doing this as much as they're doing the Ghost of Tsushimas and the Last of Us's and all those other stuff. I think this
Yeah.
is another place where they absolutely should be focusing their efforts on.
I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, I agree completely.
And I'm getting this from playing maybe 3-4 hours of the game.
Yeah.
And I already think that an amazing addition, and I can't wait to play more of it.
Nice. Very nice. Uh, that is what we've been playing. We did have a big game come out that none of us have played. Vince, which one was that?
That was, Drew, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. So, taking a look here, I think you posted this on Discord too, where there was a definite discrepancy between the original release Metascore and what we're kind of getting now.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't remember what that is on top of my head, but I looked at OpenCritic tonight before the show, everyone, and it's sitting at an 82% overall with 67 critic reviews going on right now. So to
I think
kind
the
of give a
original
little
was like 91-ish.
yeah,
I
I want to say like 91 or 92 is where I think I remember seeing that. And, it's just one of those things. I have zero interest in playing this, I know it was a kind of a experimental title with them doing the motion controls and everything like that and doing a little bit more of things. But again, just Wind Waker was my last Zelda before Breath of the Wild. Twilight Princess and this one just did not grab my attention. But to kind of go off here, Eurogamer gave it a recommended score from their reviewer, Christian Donlin. A fascinating second look at one of the oddest Zelda titles out there. IGN.
That's a very fair way of putting that.
Yeah, IGN from Travis Northup, an 8 out of 10. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is a fantastic Zelda adventure that's aged like wine, even if the Wii era motion controls still aren't great. Metro Game Central, from Game Central, no author really associated with that writer, I'm sorry. The most uneven of the 3D Zeldas, but its highs soar well above its immediate contemporaries, and while the motion controls are still hit or miss, at least there's now an alternative. And then Games Radar Plus with Josh West. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is an adventure worth taking, a chance to reevaluate one of the largest and most experimental games in the series history. So,
yeah, that's the thing. Is they have those alternatives to the motion control, and really, there's a ton of quality of life improvements. They have a trailer dedicated to showing some of those, and they're huge. I mean, I don't even remember. I did play a large portion of Skyward Sword, and I forgot that every time you pick up an item, it like makes you read the description, which is insane now that I think about it. But once you pick it up once in Skyward Sword HD, then you no longer have to read that mundane description over and over and over again. I borrowed a Wii. One of Kristen's sisters, Wii, back then to play Skyward Sword HD. I probably got like 75% of the way through, and I didn't finish it. But I will say I enjoyed it for the most part. Twilight Princess I actually gave up on pretty quickly, whereas Skyward Sword kept my attention for most of it. So I am kind of interested maybe in trying this out.
I had an easier time getting through Twilight Princess than I did Skyward Sword.
Okay.
So that's an interesting take with that. I mean, look, I could not get into Skyward Sword with everything that was going on with that game. But I'm interested in getting a chance to revisit it on a Switch because it feels like that would be more of a definitive edition to do it without having to deal with all the awkward controls and everything else like that. I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, Skyward Sword is definitely one of the 3D Zeldas where it's probably the most critically disliked, and I think within even the Zelda community, not one of the ones that people tend to really enjoy playing. So the fact that they went back or even announced that they were going to try to revisit Skyward Sword, a lot of people were very, I think, underwhelmed in that initial announcement, but it seems like that they did a very good job in trying to bring it back. And I think given everything that people have been saying about it, I'd be interested in taking another look at it personally.
Yeah, I definitely would fill in a lull with a game like this. There's always like a charm, and it's a nice welcoming atmosphere and world with Zelda, so it always feels good to jump back into that. And that's, I think, why I liked Skyward Sword more than Twilight Princess at the time, is Twilight Princess was just a little bit too
Grimdark.
drab and grimdark. Yeah, just it wasn't really the vibe for Zelda that I was really wanting at that time.
See, I
Maybe
love
it would be
Linda.
now,
I
but
thought she was great, but you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Well,
but
isn't
you
it
know,
weird?
to each their own.
Wasn't even done like Twilight Princess more of like a kind of reversal of everyone kind of moaning about Wind Waker's art style?
I love
Because I mean,
Yes.
I remember,
Yeah,
like I
it
loved
was.
Wind Waker. Like I hated friends who came over and be like, this game looks so cartoony and so childish. It's like, are you kidding me? It's fantastic. Wind
Yeah,
Waker was a fantastic game.
Vince, you are 100% correct. It is as much of a pivot as like
Yeah.
the difference between Man of Steel and like and then like going to Justice League. Like it's
Yeah.
that much of like a pivot of what they were trying to do and what they ended up becoming. Um, it's insane the kind of like the whiplash that you get from the tone of getting Wind Waker to Twilight Princess. And I appreciated Twilight Princess for what it was doing, but it was very clear that they were trying to go for more of a like Lord of the Rings. I think this was still pre Game of Thrones, but they were still trying to go for more like very hard fantasy.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. All right, let us take a short commercial break. We got a lot of wheel spins to do because you guys are being amazingly generous. When we come back, we are going to get into a jam-packed level update. Got a good one for you guys tonight.
Big level update.
Yeah. So hold on tight, Olive Tree. We will be right back. Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 1 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/the Level Up Show on the 4th Sunday of every month. Make sure you never miss an episode. Hit that heart button and turn on notifications. Get alerts whenever we go live with either variety gaming or talk shows. Do the same for Vince and Tom. They'll put their links in the chat for you with their commands. If you're watching or listening to an archive, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to go above and beyond, as so many people just did during our commercial break, getting those wheel spins, you could sub, you could tip, you could cheer. And if you want to become a part of the community, even when we are not live, get on Discord at discord.gg/the Level Up Network. Starting next month on August 8th, we will have a Discord exclusive podcast called Next Level Direct to fill in that gap between monthly episodes of Next Level Gamescast. Right now, we are about to move on to the level update, but before I get into those big stories that are coming, let me give you guys a little notification here that we will not be talking about any of the Activision drama that is happening right now. And the reason for that is that we already have a jam-packed show here with a lot of exciting, entertaining stuff. And we don't want to really report on something with that kind of weight. We want to discuss something with that kind of weight. That is something that deserves a conversation. And I feel like if we were to try and put it into the show tonight, it would feel like we were just reporting on it because of how jam-packed everything
go
already
on
is.
that single topic, Drew. We could probably go until like 3 o'clock in the morning talking about that situation, and we didn't want that to encompass the entirety of the show, which that's a topic that really deserves as much time as it needs, with just the gravity of it. But for purposes like that, for stuff that breaks like that, I think it's a good opportunity for you guys. If you haven't already joined the Discord, that's a great way for you to get at least, if nothing else, our immediate thoughts on it. And you can join in the conversation talking about that kind of stuff or those kind of stories on our Discord, where we can probably go a lot deeper than we can in the allotted time that we have currently on this show.
It's something that we might be able to tackle on Next Level Direct. Something I'm totally open to discussing on my game streams to a certain extent. I know that when I was about to stream, what was it, Final Fantasy VII Remake this week, and Vince dropped that story in our Discord chat right before I went live. And in all honesty, I was like, I'm not looking at this right now. Like I knew quickly like how heavy it was, and I was like, I can't really deal with this emotionally right now to look at this, because I think most of you know how heavy that story is, and it's an important thing to discuss. I don't want you guys to think we're just brushing over it.
No,
we do want to talk about it with you guys, but that's the thing, we want to talk about it with you guys. We don't want to just report.
We don't want to do a quick report and then have to be like, okay, now let's talk about like this game that just got announced.
So feel free to discuss it with us on Discord, maybe during Next Level Direct if you want to, call in, or during our game streams. We are definitely open to discussing it. But right now, we are going to get into some very exciting gaming news in the month's biggest gaming industry news. We call it the Level Update. I will take the first topic this evening, and it is about acquisitions. There's acquisitions everywhere, consolidation everywhere, but this one, not too much of a surprise. I must pat myself on the back a little bit, actually, because I called this during our E3 predictions that PlayStation would acquire Housemarque not too long after E3. And I said that they would be the first ones, and that some other ones would come after, which we'll get to in a moment, but directly concerning the Housemarque acquisition, this is what was said. Team is taking a step back first. Quote, in general, we are taking a break. People are having their vacations now here in Finland at Housemarque. Some are taking last year's vacations as well. So I guess that's first. And then we can start thinking about the future. Kudinen said. Kudinen went on to say that Returnal was kind of a stepping stone for the developer. For future games, you can expect them to be even bigger and even more ambitious. But what those games could be is still undecided. It seems... asked if the sale to Sony will allow Housemarque to achieve things that otherwise couldn't before, Kudinen said that will come down to the type of game the studio decides to make next. So it's great that it feels like they have that freedom. That said, Kudinen remarked that only needing to focus on one platform, PlayStation, has its benefits. We're not quite sure, but I think we've always been pushing technology as well. We can do that from now on even more than we did before, since we can concentrate on a platform. So that's a big, big part of it. We have our own VFX engine in the game that we're using, and hopefully we'll be creating something more on top of that, end quotes. Housemarque does amazing work. I've always loved them, whether it be Super Stardust HD or Resogun or Dead Nation.
Resogun was so good.
Resogun's amazing. The great, release exclusive on PS4, in my opinion, at launch. I love that game. And I thought Returnal was fantastic. I think there's areas to improve in, but man, for them going into the AAA space, I believe it truly is a AAA game. For them to go into that space and achieve what they did with Returnal, it's so promising for them. And I love everything they're saying here, that it feels like they have the freedom that Sony is saying, what do you want to make next? Maybe they go to something more arcadey than even Returnal. Maybe it is something that is, once again, roguelike, and that's why I'm going to put a poll in the chat for you guys. What would you like to see Housemarque work on next? I also want to go to you guys, of course, Tom and Vince, in a moment with that. But before, one thing I want to point out, they have said that they were not only approached by PlayStation. They were approached by other big publishers. It was very much implied they were approached by Microsoft. So this is important to note, I think, in this case, that even somebody like Housemarque that has such a close relationship with PlayStation was approached by Microsoft trying to bring them on over in their acquisition spree that they've got going on right now. And this is why PlayStation does have to be careful. I would bet that Microsoft offered more than PlayStation offered. I would bet you. But the relationship and the legacy there with PlayStation might have been enough to have a strong influence over that. But PlayStation's got to be careful. If they were to lose somebody like Housemarque to Microsoft in the acquisition spree, that would have been devastating. That would have been absolutely devastating.
At the very least, given what Housemarque has said up to this point, it seems very much that PlayStation is very much willing to allow Housemarque to go whatever route that they want to go without giving them any sort of editorial direction of where they need to be putting their next game at. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that probably played a very big role in Housemarque deciding to fully venture on with PlayStation as a brand exclusively. I think that likely played a very huge role in that. But you know what? I mean, good for Housemarque. I mean, they've done a fantastic job, and I would like to just point out with the what they said specifically about how they're all looking now to pretty much go on their vacations now. They earned it, man. I mean, if you guys been following anything with COVID and everything else going on in Europe right now, I mean, those guys through releasing that game, they were all working from home, locked in their homes. and it's only just very recently now that Europe, or at least the Eurozone for the most part, is opening up now for people to go on holiday. And though, if anybody has really earned it, I think it's probably those Housemarque devs. They've done a hell of a job, and they need to be able to take as much time as they want to. I'm sure probably if they had gone to Microsoft, they would be telling them like right away, we need something. So just to get to work. I think PlayStation might have given them a little bit more leeway, as it seems like they've been doing the entirety of their partnership.
Yeah, hard to say for sure, but we have heard many times that PlayStation is that way, so that's great. We'll get to Nixxes, the other acquisition, in a moment. That's why Tomb Raider is up on screen for a reason. But before that, real quick, to Vince and Tom, what would you like Housemarque to make next?
Vince?
Tom?
I'm fine with whatever. Returnal was amazing. I'm fine with it. DLC, new game, new IP. You want to remake something else? I don't care. Go for it.
Okay.
I've always been there day one, and I will continue to do so right now because faith is unbroken at this point.
What would be your preference, Tom, if you had a choice? What do you want Housemarque to make
My
next?
preference? Look, I would like to see them now, after having Returnal under their belt, I would like to see what they can do with another third-person action game. I'd like to see what lessons they learned from that and what they can apply it to. I would be very interested in that, but I'm still very much in Vince's mindset as well. I kind of look at them in the same kind of way as I do certain bands that I like, where I'm just like, you guys can do nothing wrong. So you get whatever you guys want to do, just go nuts.
I trust you. I have faith in you. Yeah.
But if you had to make me choose, if I had a gun to my head, I would say that I would like to see another third-person action game, see what lessons they learned from Returnal, and continue on from there. Not necessarily Returnal 2, but whatever they decide to go with in that genre, I would be very interested in seeing.
I would like them to work on a new IP, but I'm totally down for them doing another roguelike and continuing on learning from what they did with Returnal.
Yeah.
So we had Shadow of the Tomb Raider up on screen. Tomb Raider in general is one of the titles, a series that Nixxes, the other acquisition made by PlayStation this past month, they do a lot of port work, a lot of Square Enix's port work specifically. What were some other ones? Hitman too, right? Didn't they?
I think
They help. With every PC version of what Square Enix published is usually what they have a hand in.
Yeah,
they had a
pretty
huge hand in the PC version of Marvel's Avengers. They had a huge hand in almost everything, going all the way back to even the ports of Soul Reaver 1 and 2, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, and even Defiance.
A lot of people didn't know about Nixxes, right?
Yeah.
but then you saw them acquire, and everybody on Twitter.
Legacy of Kain reference, by the way.
Everybody on Twitter that has any knowledge of the industry and the developers was like, holy crap, this is actually a great buy.
This was a curveball.
These are unbelievably talented people that have been working in the industry for 20 years, and they can do amazing work, specifically in that space of porting games with amazing quality. Let me read off here a little bit. Quote, I highly respect Nixxes and I am excited for this very experienced team to become part of the world-class development community at SIE. This came from Herman Holst, of course. They have a passion for improving games and for delivering the best possible experience for gamers. Nixxes will be a strong asset for everyone across PlayStation Studios, helping our teams focus on their most important goal, which is to create unique PlayStation content at the best possible quality. We can't wait to get to work and are so excited to bring our technical and development expertise to an IP powerhouse like PlayStation Studios. That came from Jurgen Katzmann, senior director at Nixxes. We're looking forward to working with some of the most talented teams in the industry to deliver the highest quality gameplay experiences for PlayStation fans. So the immediate question that a lot of people had is, will they work on like their own IPs? Will they do anything like that? We'll have to wait and see. I do think that they are going to be focused on what makes them great, porting games, and there's a lot of areas where Sony could benefit from that. I mean, we can see Sony is getting into the PC space more and more. Maybe these are the guys porting Bloodborne. Who the hell knows? But on top of that, what if they are going to help figure out how to bring PS3 games to PS Now or something like that? You know, who knows what these guys are capable of, but maybe PlayStation brought them in for some major reasons such as that. I would love to see them grow and maybe become capable of their own first party title at some point in the future, but I'm certainly not expecting that. What about you guys?
No, I'm not expecting that either. They're fantastic tech people. One of the things that I know is they helped with AMD develop Lara's hair tech that was used in the new Tomb Raider trilogy. Um, but that's what I expect them to be right now. I expect them to be one of those, like, kind of like what the ICE team was back in the PS3 day. And in case anyone doesn't know what that is, that's Sony's internal team that was going into most of their first party and some third party developers and helping them with engine code and whatnot. I expect them to be something like that, to where they might be helping bridge in the first party structure. Because that's the one thing we've been seeing Sony's really started to do lately now, has been starting to kind of bridge in the whole, this developer shares this technique and this technique. And that's, I expect them to kind of be the center of that and kind of distributing all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I 100% agree with Vince. I fully view them as a support team slash the dev team specifically focused on trying to get some of these games ported to PC. It seems like Sony really wants to try and get into the PC space, but they're going to continue doing this thing where they wait like a year and a half to port to the PC, and having a developer like Nixus to help with that exclusively without having to go with anybody else internal, that everybody else can just focus on putting out the next big thing and have them focus on porting. I think it's a very savvy move that PlayStation likely did, looking toward the future and trying to get some more money out of some of these games. Because I know that there's definitely a very big interest in for that a lot of people have with playing some of these games on PC. I mean, we've already seen what happened with Horizon. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit with some of the other IP. I mean, Rift Apart, I fully expect to see on PC within like another.
And of course,
months.
people have been just desperate for Bloodborne on PC for the longest time now, so
absolutely.
could have finally happened.
There are so many people who want to play Bloodborne. I know at least I could probably name 5 people right now off the top of my head who would absolutely buy Bloodborne on PC if they had the availability.
Seems like the big one. There was actually another acquisition-related thing for PlayStation this month. Very bizarre, very strange, that on the morning, afternoon, whatever it was, that Housemarque was announced as acquired. Of course, we had that graphic tweeted out for Housemarque being added to the PlayStation family. You got all the blades, and you could see, of course, Celine from Returnal merged in there. Very odd that at that exact moment, pretty much, PlayStation Japan also tweeted out something about Housemarque being acquired, but their graphic was different. Their graphic said Bluepoint Games. But, even stranger, the blade with Celine was still present, in addition to another blade showing Demon Souls. So the assumption immediately was, okay, Housemarque was supposed to be acquired first, and this was the graphic intended for when Bluepoint was acquired later, since we have the blade for Housemarque present. We haven't heard anything, literally anything about it since. Bluepoint has not directly commented on it. Sony has not directly commented on it. Bluepoint did like a thing where they like updated their Twitter profile, like that they're independent, but it doesn't mean anything. Like the head of Bluepoint is liking like every tweet that is about them being acquired by PlayStation. I mean, what do you think? Is there a chance that this doesn't happen? Is there a chance that it falls through, or do you think they're just waiting for the right moment to announce it? Let's go to you, Vince, first.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, I just don't see how this could really fall through unless something big happened, as in like Microsoft or Embracer Group or, Tencent came in and offered ludicrous amount of money and said, nah. I have no idea. I just feel like it just makes sense. I do know that they already had. I do remember them actually talking about there was 2 projects still going on. One was another PlayStation exclusive. The other one was apparently multi-platform. I haven't heard anything about the multi-platform project in a long time now. So I don't know. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I think I feel like they were definitely wanted to probably save this announcement probably for more of one of the PlayStation like state of plays.
Maybe the big one rumored for August or September.
Yeah, I think it would have been probably ideal that they would have done that. It seems like it's definitely a mistake, but for them to have that graphic set up, I think it's clear it's very much in the same way as like, and this is a little inside baseball with the television industry. When you know that there's a famous person who's like about to die or something, like I'm getting kind of dark here. It tends to be that you've already like kind of produced
Your in memoriam.
an in memoriam package. Like you get that ready to go, because as soon as it happens, like you don't want to be the ones who are caught with your pants down when something like that happens. So it's very clear to me, at the very least, that PlayStation was deep into talks with Bluepoint that this was going to happen. So they had that graphic ready to go. Like, that wasn't something that they threw together in 2 seconds. Like, they had that sitting in their back pocket.
Oh,
and
without a doubt, yeah.
And somebody just happened to, like, drag over the wrong file and put that in.
Here's
there.
the thing.
So,
This acquisition has been rumored heavily for about 6 months now, 5 months now. Specifically, the big one was Marzipan on Resetera betting. Of course, it didn't come to fruition, but betting that by the end of February, Bluepoint would be acquired, saying ban me if it doesn't happen. He said that, things are still in the works. He did get banned. Yeah.
He didn't.
Yes.
No, he didn't get banned for that, but he did get banned later, Vince, if you didn't know. He got banned.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he got banned later. But either way, so many people were coming to his defense, other insiders. So it really felt like this guy knew what he was talking about. And even though it didn't happen, this has been in the works. These things take time. Like, there's a lot of negotiations to go on here. Bluepoint is a pretty big deal. They've been around for a long time. Like, this is not as simple as Housemarque, in my opinion, was. And that's why when I made my prediction, I said Housemarque be first, because Housemarque needed it more. Technically, Bluepoint doesn't need to be acquired. As far as I know, it doesn't seem like that is a necessity. PlayStation is, I'm sure, advertising to them why they should want to be acquired. And it's a back and forth that I'm sure has been going on for a while. And the fact that this graphic was made, to me, says it's in the works. It might not be done yet to the point where it's like we're just waiting to announce it at the next State of Play, but it's, I think, at the least in the works. Doesn't mean it can't fall through, but it is in the works. This is something that is behind the scenes right now.
Right. To me, it's very clear that this is that it's getting to that point, but it's it's all over but the crying. I think they just got to dot their I's and cross their T's. It's probably very negligible things that they're still working on, but it's still enough where you can't formally say that that's the case.
Yeah. And to answer Farcenter, that is correct. He was sidestepping the mod's rules by DMing people about things.
Yeah.
So that's why he got banned on Resetera. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he is gone, unfortunately. We've lost a lot of insiders on Resetera recently. Navtra being the big disappointing one. Navtra was like the Final Fantasy insider. So I loved having her on Resetera, and she left. She didn't get banned. She just left. I think she got a little freaked out because she might have been like figured out like who she was.
That's exactly what it was. She was worried that like what her posts were. She was like she said, like, I think they might know who I am.
Yeah. So that's why she left, unfortunately. Hopefully she comes back under a different name and like will not know that it's Navtra, but we'll probably piece it together that, oh, she's got all the Final Fantasy insider news. It's got to be Navtra, even though we'll never have confirmation of it. Right. But anyway, it's a very exciting time. Housemarque was a major pickup. I think Nixus is a great addition, and I think Bluepoint would be... It's just a great way to round out that trio of acquisitions. It's why I called it during E3. I hope they're able to make it work. I think that Bluepoint is almost synonymous with PlayStation in a lot of ways now, so it's not going to ruffle too many feathers, which is a good thing, right? It's not like Xbox guys are going to feel like they're really missing out on some major thing. Same with Housemarque. People looked at Housemarque as almost synonymous with PlayStation, so I saw tons of people, like when Insomniac was acquired, like, oh, they weren't already first party? Like you saw that a lot when Housemarque was acquired, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something similar if Bluepoint was acquired. But the fact that, or I shouldn't say fact, but the rumors that Microsoft was so heavily going after Housemarque as well shows me that PlayStation does need to be a little bit aggressive in the space in trying to make sure that they do get Bluepoint.
Aggressive.
Herman Hulse has said that this is not an acquisition war. This is not an arms race. That's what he said following these acquisitions, but I have to say, like, even though he's saying that, I think behind it all, it is going on. It's a little bit there. They have to be concerned.
The weird thing though is this is a little bit sidestep, and I'm super sorry because I don't know if it's in the speed run here, but like we're seeing those partnerships with like Haven and whatnot. Did you see who Haven picked up?
Yeah, they
recently.
picked up. He was from, where was he from?
He was from Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
He was the core art director of the Assassin's Creed franchise for 13 years.
So it's almost like Jade
Left
Raymond is going to all the people that are pissed off at
and picking
Ubisoft,
up her,
and they're and
picking up her old Montreal
and poaching
team.
them. She's poaching them.
Yeah, she's literally picking up her old Montreal team. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Sony's making the smarter move in a way, because like these smaller teams that are happening now, especially like the other two that are happening right now, those are all big industry people who are now just making smaller teams and then just signing on to PlayStation. Like
Firewalk and Deviation, I think, are the other ones.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a great idea there. I talked about it with Dave on his X1 Bros interview, that their strategy right now, since they can't afford the acquisitions in the same way Microsoft is doing, even though they just picked up Housemarque, Nixxes, and they might pick up Bluepoint, these aren't near as expensive as a $7.5 billion Bethesda
publisher acquisition.
ZeniMax acquisition. Where was I going with that for a second? I lost my train of thought. Oh, but they have the great strategy of kind of building second-party relationships, kind of like Insomniac was for the longest time, where they're hoping that Haven, Firewalk, Deviation make this IP that is owned by PlayStation, that the only way they could continue making that IP is to continue working with PlayStation, and a relationship is built, they become second party, and then maybe in the future they have that opportunity to acquire them as well if the number is right, I guess I should say. So I do think it's a strong strategy to happen alongside picking up individual studios here and there.
Key acquisitions.
Key acquisitions. Exactly. Moving on, Mike is not here, but I do think we should talk about this. I'm not going to skip over Mike's topic. I will take this. It's not all good news with PlayStation this month. There was a major topic going around specifically on Twitter coming from some smaller indie developers that are criticizing PlayStation, specifically how they manage their indie relationships behind the scenes, especially with PlayStation Store, with deals, with listings, all of that. So the one in particular was Ian Garner. I can't remember who he is with. He's a Taiwan-based indie developer. He was calling them out as Platform X, but he was pretty heavily implying that he was talking about PlayStation, talking about in order to get promotion, you must jump through hoops, beg, and plead. I have no idea how to succeed on this platform, and they won't tell me. In an interview, Garner said he felt compelled to share his experience following a PlayStation video seminar that day in which the company encouraged attendees to pay $25,000 for front page promotion on the store. I will say that's actually not as big a deal, in my opinion. That's a little bit more common fare that you had to pay to be listed. I think the bigger issue that I'm reading from him and from a lot of people is that there's not enough people manning this at PlayStation. There's not enough people that are there ready to talk about this, ready to talk about, okay, you want to have a sale on your game? Yeah, let's make that happen. Like, they can get that easily on Xbox. They can get, if they want to have their game go on sale on Xbox, easy, no problem. Whereas there's hoops, paperwork, all this kind of stuff on PlayStation that makes it a real hassle for these indie developers to get their game noticed. Xbox is especially doing it well, and I think Nintendo is doing it well, not entirely by like what they're doing right, but by the position that they're in. By the platform, I think is where it kind of is succeeding with Nintendo. What do you guys think needs to happen here? PlayStation obviously needs to do something. They were an indie darling back in the early PS4 days. Things have obviously changed. They're focusing so heavily on the first year of PS5 on having an amazing first-party lineup, and maybe that's why they've pushed indie to the side. But what do you think needs to happen here? Vince,
Tom, I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh no, Tom,
I want
to
hear Tom's thoughts. Yeah.
No, look, I mean, it's I agree with you, Drew. I think it's I don't think it's out of the realm of what would normally be acceptable, and understanding that part of your marketing budget is going to have to go toward paying the fee for having front page promotion. On the other hand, I feel like Sony really, I think, needs to do as much as Microsoft has done up to this point with promoting some of their indie devs. I think, historically speaking, Microsoft has done a very good job, whether it be through Xbox Arcade or certain other promotions that they've done, where they've helped really promote indie devs in certain fashions. And I think Sony needs to probably rethink how they handle indie devs, whether it be adding more people in specifically with for the purposes of promoting indie devs, or talking to them about any sort of other issues with working with the PlayStation platform, or just straight up maybe even just doing their own investments into indie developers. I mean, it's clear that they have enough interest in investing in certain developers, as we've just talked about in a previous
Oh yeah, I
top.
mean, think about it. Shuei's doing a great job in certain aspects. You got
Oh,
Kena, you got
100%.
Stray, Little
Yeah.
Devil Inside. You know, there's plenty of indie titles that are bigger indie titles
Look,
that feel a little bit more substantial. It's these real
like
small
for
guys that are having
instance,
problems.
like what was it? Shoot, it wasn't Broforce, but it was a game that was very similar to that. Like they worked so well with PlayStation that Shohei Yoshida was in the game as an unlockable
Right.
character. So I mean, it's clear that Sony has the capability of doing that for certain games. I just feel like they need to probably put more of a focus. And this is very much something that they, like I said, as much as they have certain games that they do believe in, as to your point, Drew, I think that they could be doing more. They could be doing a
Oh,
lot
100%. It's
more
obvious, yeah.
to focus in on the indie devs, whether that's hiring more people to be liaisons for that, or just in general, being more open to, and probably maybe they want to drop that price of the $25 entry fee,
25,000, yeah.
$25,000 entry fee, in order to get front page promotion. I think because you need to. I feel like they really should focus more on indie devs in general. Because as I've said before, Xbox I think has done an excellent job in doing that. That I think Sony should be putting more of a
It's
focus
not
on.
something that I would have really recognized if it wasn't brought to the forefront on
Right,
these discussions
right, and
on
I
Twitter.
think it's amazing, and I think it's I give Ian Garner all the praise in the world for doing that and speaking up, because I think you need to have more of these indie devs speaking up. Matthew White, same thing.
Yep.
I think they need. I think it's great what they're doing. They shouldn't feel afraid to come out and criticize PlayStation for this, because it's extremely, to me, something that they've been lacking on, and I think it's great that they're speaking up and saying something about it. Like, I think more indie devs, if they've had issues with the PlayStation experience on their end, I think that they like people should be saying more about it, because the only way you're going to get it done is to get public support.
Mhm.
And Twitter and everything else is a great way to make sure that people are understanding what you're actually going through in
Yeah,
order to get
so
your game out there.
something we talked about on one of our Discord calls, and one of the reasons I think Next Level Direct is going to be great because we have these Discord calls, and we're like, oh my god, we should just record this.
Yeah.
But we were talking about where Sony does Sony even care to push this, right? Because from what I can tell, it does kind of feel like PlayStation has a certain messaging they're going for right now, and that is we are the premium elite, our first party prestige. Like, we want to highlight all of that, and we'll have a couple indies that seem really promising, like Kena and Stray and Little Devil Inside, that we invest in. But otherwise, we want you guys focusing on what makes us PlayStation. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's potentially what PlayStation's focus actually
Oh, and
is.
it's clear that they have a built-in investment in driving you more toward those games. It's clear that they have that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. And one thing I brought up during the call, and I'm going to pull in the chat about this, myself personally, I never go to the PlayStation Store and actually browse for games. I I think I'm like a lot of PlayStation people in that what I go for are the big PlayStation exclusives, are the if not those, like the big third party titles that everybody loves, or the indie ones that they're promoting, like Kena. When I go to the PlayStation Store, I just find that game and I download it. The only time I ever go to the PlayStation Store otherwise, to browse, if you want to say, is if there is a big summer sale or something like that. So I don't see any problems myself because I don't dive into that in that way. And I'm curious to people in the chat and to you guys, like, do you ever actually go to the store and browse for games that you don't even know of? Like, oh, what is this game? I've never heard of this. Like, let me look into this. I never do that.
Yeah,
I
I do it all the time, and I've
Yeah.
Yeah.
never. And again, this is again really, really weird. everyone who's always been very harsh on the whole PlayStation Store this generation, I have zero problems with it. I have zero, zero. Like everyone wants to say it's Garbo and everything like that. I've had zero issues with navigating, finding stuff, finding demos, finding stuff like that. And that's the weird thing too for me is like I've kind of just been able to interface it. Like I think I had Gravy Biscuits one time come and say I had to find a Scarlet Nexus demo by accident, and I was like, I just searched up Scarlet Nexus, and the second thing was demo, and I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, what's the issue? You know? And it was like, if you know something has a demo, that's great. If you don't know something has a demo, that's another problem because it does hide that. And I do think there needs to be a better flag for that. There's things they need to improve, but like I just don't have the frustrations that everyone has. And I've even noticed that my store has gotten better with looking at that type of stuff. Like it's just I've gotten recommendations on that stuff. I've gotten recommendations on other things. I've gotten recommendations on sales. I've gotten recommendations on the games that I played by similar developers. It's like it's just weird to me. Like I just do not have that issue. Now, Tom, I know we've had a small discussion about it. I know it's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
On your end.
for me, I definitely feel like there is. I feel like there's more that PlayStation could be doing when you go and browse the store in order to determine if there is a certain game that's coming out that fits within your purview of games that you've been purchasing. There's
Yeah.
certain games that I know that have come out that I know have come out for PlayStation that I would not be able to immediately find, short of me knowing that it exists and me putting it into the search engine in order to find it. Um, I feel like PlayStation could be doing so much more with their algorithms and being able to understand what games that you have in your library, and being able to recommend indies that fit within that purview, and that can be highly rated or not highly rated, regardless of what we can talk about in that respect. But I do personally agree in some respects with Fuzzbucket in the chat there, where he says, he says that the UI and UX is garbo. I mean, I would say that it's lacking.
It's bare bones is what it is. It feels like the first release. It feels like probably COVID as well forced them to not have as much of a meaty UI UX as they probably wanted, and it's probably going to build out over the first year.
Yeah. I feel like there's just so much more that they could absolutely be doing in that realm, in that respect, and I would look forward to them being able to do that. Whether that be like it's tough for me to go ahead and say that there's any sort of malice behind it, but I think that they could be doing a better job, I think, with highlighting indies, with highlighting other games that I think that you would find interesting, that you may not even are aware of. Because look, Vince, Drew, we get pretty much probably most of you in the chat, you guys are all within the culture, right? We all are within this general realm of gamers where it's easy for us to understand or even look and try to find certain games that come out. For the average casual consumer, they might be completely unaware that any of these games are out. And I think it behooves PlayStation or Microsoft, or anyone for that matter, to be able to find a way in order to highlight these games, not only just to help themselves out, but to help out some of these other indie devs. I think it's a great kind of symbiotic relationship that they can definitely work on. And I don't think it's going to take as much work as we could probably be thinking of in order to make these little quality of life improvements happen with the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, to clarify, like, I love indie games. I think you guys know that. You see that I try to play indie games here and there. It's just that for me, and this kind of goes to what Tom was saying, like, we're in the space. Like, I don't need to browse for random games because I'm not going to download and play a random game. I'm going to buy something like that. I don't have the time. Like, I know exactly what I want to play. I've got it mapped out usually months ahead of time what I'm going to be playing. So, something like Devil's Door that just released, right? Like, that's on my radar now. And it's not because I found it randomly on the PlayStation Store. It's not even on PlayStation yet. It's that I saw people talking about it, word of mouth, and now it's on my radar. And now when it comes out on PlayStation, I will search for it. I know that I want it now. So
to that point, I had no idea that Devil's Door was even a game that existed.
I didn't either.
Until just the other day.
But I would not have ever found it randomly and said, oh, Death's Door, what is that? I'm going to look into this. Like, no, I'm going to go buy it now because I heard about it and heard it was good.
Right.
Like, I got people responded to 3 people that voted saying they browse all the time for random games. I don't it doesn't matter to me at all. I'm just that guy, I guess. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. I know what I want to get. I'll go there and buy it, and that's it. And as Vince said, for me the UI UX is totally fine. I just search the game, I buy it, I download it. Good. I'm good to go. I'm a simple man.
But
But anyway.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I could sit there. Maybe we'll do it on Next Level Direct. Actually, I can go through. I mean, if you even go back in Discord, you can see. I have my laundry list of things I like to see changed. Absolutely on the PlayStation
Oh yeah,
Store.
there's plenty.
And
Yeah.
one thing I do want to kind of go back with this topic real quick before we move on is the one thing that shocks me, and this just might be my ignorance of retail storefronts, digital storefronts. I think it's crazy to me that developers don't have as much control of the price of their game as
Yeah.
what it seems. To me, that almost seems confounding. Like, why would you want to have an indie developer struggle to adjust their price when you're still going to make the influx of money on it and you're not promoting it any like that's the thing I don't understand. You know, that's the one thing that like if there has to be an improvement on the developer on the back end of PSN, there needs to be something like that to where let developers kind of adjust what they're doing. Or I guess if there's a big publisher involved, if we're getting into actual AAA space, there needs to be something more like that. And if there needs to be a negotiation in the contract for like a third party deal, then there's a negotiation for that. But for indies, I, I'm again, this could be ignorance and this isn't a fake fan moment. I'm pretty sure they have almost direct control over their price on Steam and I want to say Epic Game Store. So I think this is a little bit weird that the other 3 platform holders don't do that very much.
Yeah, it was surprising to me as well. It's one of those areas that you don't really usually get a lot of news on. So
No.
it's definitely an interesting subject. I'm glad that it's been brought to the forefront. All right, moving on. We are a little behind, so let's move here. Vince, your topic.
Yeah, so guys, there's a new Switch announced. It was a Switch OLED.
And it's not the Switch Pro,
model.
yeah.
It's not a Switch Pro.
Not Switch Pro.
Not Switch Pro. So kind of run through this, guys, real quick. The Switch OLED is scheduled to launch on October 8th. The date also happens to be the same as the release of Metroid Dread. Maybe that's why the white is the flagship color of the console because of Samus's new suit in that. The price, the Switch OLED is priced at $349.99, $50 more than the standard Switch model. What is the Switch OLED? As the name implies, Nintendo's upcoming console sports an OLED screen, allowing it to display a more vibrant image than its LCD screen found in the original Switch and Switch Lite. The screen itself is larger, measuring in at 7 inches instead of the original 6.2 inches. As the primary feature of the upcoming revision is a particular boon to players who primarily play Switch in handheld mode. Let's make that clear.
Not me.
This upgrade is for people who play this game in handheld and they want a premium handheld experience. The Lite was the cheap handheld experience in a way. This is the premium handheld experience. Aside from the screen, the Switch OLED also improves upon its predecessor's audio with enhanced sound. That's according to Nintendo's official announcement. I'm sorry. Although it didn't offer any specifics on what kind of changes we can expect. Other major improvements include a wider adjustable kickstand, an updated dock with a wired LAN port. That's the big one. And 64 gigabytes of internal storage. So cool stuff, right? The dock is the more important thing to pay attention to, especially when we get closer to launch, because the dock with the wired LAN port being in there, there's been rumbles of that USB-C display port, how it connects to the Switch and how it outputs to your TV. That has been rumored to have been updated. Not that the Switch OLED will take advantage of it, but that could be an indication of what we'll see for a Switch 2, aka Switch Pro, in the next year or so. So I'm not picking it up. I'm happy for people who want a more premium experience. Absolutely not. This was way off of what I wanted to do. I don't care. Sorry. Let's just get that out of the way. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't care either. I only play Switch docked, so this obviously means nothing to me. A lot of people are so pissed off about this because, in honesty, a lot of insiders kind of dropped the ball here. Specifically, like Bloomberg talked about this being 4K, 60, shit like that. So a lot of people got their hype up real high for this being like the Switch Pro.
How much of that was Jason?
I don't think it was Jason.
I don't think it was Jason.
Yeah, I don't think it was Jason.
I do not remember. Jason doesn't really kind of refer to that type of stuff for the most part. It's weird. He stays out of it. It's mostly game development side is where he's more on.
Do you wonder if they added Ethernet for streaming? games to the
Well,
console?
remember, some of their games right now, Hitman 3 and
Yeah.
Control, and I believe Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not quite too sure on the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I believe those are cloud streaming games
Yeah.
as well. They're not locally played on the hardware. They are streamed to the console. The other thing too is, I mean, I'm happy for the Ethernet port. I think the Switch's Wi-Fi is kind of garbo in a way. It's really slow. In comparison even to my speed, I have a gigabyte internet speed, and I don't bypass 200 megabit on that Switch. It's ridiculous. That could also be a router thing, but I've never had good luck with any of that Wi-Fi. But anyway, it is what it is in my opinion. But moving on, this is the more exciting thing. I'm sorry, this is where you're gonna get me all freaking out here. Is that Valve announced the Steam Deck, everyone. So the Steam Deck is their handheld PC, handheld game console, handheld something all over the place. It's
really, it's
amazing.
just a PC, is what it is.
It's a PC, but it's not. But it
seems
is,
like it,
but
yeah.
it's not. But it is, but it's not. It's like Schrodinger's cat in a way. Is it alive or is it not? Who knows? But it releases December 21st.
Schrodinger's console.
December 2021. My bad. Not the 21st. My bad. There's 3 models of it. It's at $499. You get 64 gigabytes of eMMC internal storage in a carrying case. $529 for 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD internal storage, faster storage, carrying case, exclusive Steam community profile bundle. $649, the big bucks, gets you the 512 NVMe SSD, the fastest internal storage, premium anti-glare etched glass, exclusive carrying case, exclusive Steam community profile bundle, and an exclusive virtual keyboard theme, because this is all important stuff, right? Let's get into the guts of this thing. Let's get into the guts of this thing. Display, 7-inch diagonal, 12,000 pixels by 800 pixels.
1,200.
1,200.
Not 12,000. Yeah.
My bad. I'm terrible with numbers, guys. You all know this by now. CPU is an AMD APU, Zen 2 base, 4-core, 8 threads, 2.4 to 5 gigahertz is the clock speed based on that, based on what you're doing. The GPU is 8 RDNA 2 CUs, I'm sorry. And it has a clock speed of 1 to 1.6 gigahertz. Memory is 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM, which is quad channel. This is huge. That was confirmed later. It's a quad channel interface bus. Any game that runs on SteamOS will work on the Steam Deck. Cannot guarantee your entire Steam library will work. However, if you look at Proton DB, anything that's on Proton, it's like almost like 93% compatibility. It's pretty huge. It's anti-cheat is the biggest things, like Apex and whatnot won't work on that, but they're working on that. Since it's Linux OS, anything you can install on Linux can be installed on Steam Deck. Valve will release a Steam Dock. So let me say one thing right now. This thing is ridiculous in what
it really
Valve is trying to do here.
I'm not even like, this is not my thing, but this is really good. Like this is a good value.
Look, this is the equivalent. I'm sorry, Tom, just to kind of cut you away.
Go ahead.
The GPU at this pixel ratio, this is the equivalent of an Xbox Series X, pretty much at pixel performance.
Yep.
In a handheld.
Yeah.
That is insanity to me.
Ridiculous.
Now, it sounds like they're going to limit things to 30 FPS for the most part. Like there's actually going to be a limiter that limits at 30 FPS, but it doesn't have to be. Like you still have control over your games. You can still modify the settings. You can still, raise it up to 60 FPS, lower some graphical settings. It's a PC. You can install Windows on this thing. Like you can install Windows on this thing. You can browse the internet on this thing. You can install emulators on this thing. If you want to have Super Nintendo and Game Boy or whatever, you want to install emulators on this thing. This is a pretty amazing value when you consider all of that in the palm of your hands, right? And when you put it against the Switch OLED, the Steam Deck is $50 more at the lowest value?
At the lowest value, it would be $50 more.
I mean, come on, like that's kind of crazy. You can get everything the Steam Deck is doing. I know you're not getting Nintendo at first-party exclusives, but all that you're getting for $50 more.
Are you though? Like that's the thing. This is real fuzzy area. So I am not endorsing this at all. I'm not endorsing this at all. But
Gamescast does not endorse anything that.
No, I do not endorse pirating. I do not endorse anything of what this is saying right now. But the fact is, I forget what the name of the major Switch emulator / Wii U emulator is. You're gonna be able to run Breath of the Wild 2 on this thing.
Maybe
pretty
possible.
Much.
We do not condone this.
I do not condone this. I do not condone this. I do not condone this at all. But
theoretically, if you should find your way into doing something like that, it could work out in certain
It could work
ways.
out.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, for me, what I'm actually going to use that thing for, because I actually do have the $649 version of it on reserved for it. I'm using the second PC for gaming.
Wait, I thought Lindsay said cool it.
Oh, she did. This is one of
Does
those
she
things
know
that
about this?
she knows about this.
She knows about it. Are you sure about that?
I said Christmas present for me because
okay.
it's not going to be until next year anyway. From what my reservation says, it's Q1 2022 for me, so it's Christmas present for me. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited to see what I can do with this for like a channel aspect of this for streaming instead. Like I know I just got a 3070 Ti, but the fact that I could now have just like a dedicated PC gaming machine that's not a massive rig that I can sit there and do smaller games on.
I know people that have 1,000, 2,000 Steam games. I'm not even joking.
It's insane.
Thousands of Steam games in their library, and now they have them all pretty much at their fingertips. That's like insane. That's absolutely insane. So yeah, this thing has an amazing value. I really think it's going to do very well. I think this could take a chunk out of people that would spend their money on a Switch. And I'm not saying it does what a Switch can do. And there's going to be people that say first-party Nintendo exclusives, I got to have them. But there's going to be some people that say for the value between the two of them, if I had to choose one, I might now do the Steam Deck instead.
At least people who are as ingrained into gaming as we are, I would say, yeah, 100%. You would look at that and just be like, why would I bother? Why would I bother with a new Switch over getting the Steam Deck, which is going to have pretty much the entirety of gaming's history at the palm of my hands whenever I want. I mean, and if the dock eventually comes out, forget it. I mean, just forget it right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to have, you can use a third-party dock. They said that in interviews. There's already docks that will work with this thing that you plug and play very quickly. They're going to come out with their own official one, but you don't need it. There's going to be third-party docks that you can use and treat this like a Switch if you would like, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, you can see Control playing on this thing. We've seen Jedi Fallen Order. It seems like it run beautifully on there. Pretty much like any PS4, Xbox One generation game is going to run beautifully on this thing.
And even then, for future generation games, you have the Series S to kind of keep things in tow there. So in reality, this thing has like, a 3 to 4 year lifespan. I think when you're talking about current game technology, the fact that they can make a Mark II of this later, this is insanity to me.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential. Tom, let's move on. Take us home with the final level update story.
Yes, our final topic here. Phil Spencer made some comments on some hardware revisions, Halo buyouts, and more. Phil Spencer talked with Hardware Revisions. He said, there's nothing that's going to come out next year that's going to make you feel like, oh, I should have waited. These are, he continued on, these are the consoles that we have had in markets for years. And we built them with that in mind. And I love the tech that's in there and that capability. And that's where our focus is going. We want to do hardware because it actually creates new opportunities. And I've said before, it could be at the lower end that we find more immediate opportunities.
I can't remember what caused the concern for this, but this was kind of in direct response to people fearing that we already had the Series S, we got the Series X. If I'm picking up the Series X right now, is there going to be a Series A that releases in 6 months, and I'm going to feel like a jackass? So it's kind of
because that's what tends
to
go with some of these gaming with how the gaming generations have been going of recent. Is that it seems like a new model comes out almost like maybe a year and a half to like 2 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like Phil is definitely pointing toward the idea that they are going to kind of stick with what they have at the moment.
Right.
Moving on toward Halo, he says, I don't think it's a make or break. I just don't believe that, he told IGN. There's going to be millions of people who play that game and love that game. He's talking about Halo Infinite, by the way. And I'm sure there will be some people who will see opportunities for us to do more. And that's just the nature of being in the entertainment business, and we accept it. He would go on to say that developers put enough pressure on themselves to make a great game, and he didn't want to add any more. Halo will be here 10 years from now, Is Infinite the linchpin for whether or not it survives that long? Absolutely not. The game has such a rabid fan base and such a history and lore that it's just an IP that's going to be with us. We don't take that for granted, but I definitely believe that in my core. I never want to put a team in a position where they feel like, hey, this one's gotta land, or who knows.
Let me stop you there for a second.
Go ahead.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Let me say that
Yeah,
to start.
no.
But by saying it, you can't help but feel like a sort of message is being sent
Look,
of lower your expectations for Halo
yeah.
Infinite, right? And maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's not what he's doing, but I can't help but feel like him making these comments is kind of saying, it's okay if this one's not good, guys. Don't worry. The next one could be better. And you guys are going to stick
Right.
around anyway, because it's Halo.
Let's be real. Halo up to this point, it's very clear these days, and why it's so interesting that Halo Infinite has already come out and basically said that their multiplayer is going to end up being free to play. It's very clear that they are understanding that the story elements, the first, the single player campaign portion of Halo, has definitely hit a rut, and it's hit a rut in a big way. And they are definitely, it seems like Phil is definitely doing everything that he can to kind of like lower expectations and make you realize like, hey, look, this is not going to be like a Titanfall 2 campaign where it's going to like revolutionize single player campaigns and really like be in depth. Like, I feel like he's pretty much getting you up to the point where you're going to realize this is going to be paint by numbers from a lore standpoint. It's, I mean, granted, from everything that we saw from the Infinite reveal trailer, it definitely seems like he wants to lower expectations again. At this point, it's almost like Halo should just end up being just a multiplayer game with the way that he's
Maybe
talking
we'll have to
about
see
this.
how the response is to this one. I still have faith for some reason that this is going to turn out to be a really strong
I hope it
entry in the
does.
Halo
I hope it.
franchise.
I really hope it does.
Me too.
Genuinely, I hope it does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move ahead a little bit and
Yeah.
say Phil Spencer then started talking about buyouts of certain studios that have been going on recently. Quote, I know sometimes I see dialogue out in the industry about, well, are acquisitions a good thing or a bad thing? One thing I'll put out there is starting a new studio, starting any small business, frankly, is a very risky proposition. Starting a video game studio, even more so. And if a team actually takes the risk of starting a new company, starting a new studio, building that over years, building value in that, to say that they shouldn't sell, I think, is just short-sighted. It's such a risk-filled journey for them to get to the point to create real value. I'm always going to congratulate when teams get to the point where they realize that value through acquisition or just massive independent success. Many of those leaders will go off and start other things over time. It's kind of the natural turnover that happens when entrepreneurs and startup businesses. And for us, we're always out there looking at where we could continue to build our first party capability and looking at teams that we think would be good fits for us. So basically, and as we know, Herman Holst himself does not believe in the idea of an arms race.
Yeah, as I
You know,
mentioned earlier, yeah.
he's gone off on several times, and frankly, it's clear that they've spent money on getting certain studios, and we've already seen some acquisitions that have already happened, as we talked about earlier in the show. It's very clear that PlayStation's kind of going in their own on their own schedule of things, it feels like, and how they want to approach certain things. Phil is taking this as a very capitalistic mindset of just, look, if somebody's built up a studio where they feel like they're in a good position to sell, and we're interested in them, we're going to do it because it just makes sense for us to do that.
I mean, really, if a studio wants to sell, somebody's going to buy them. So
Right.
really, I mean,
and
yeah,
Phil's taking the position of why not us?
100%.
So
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
and there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't think that there's anything particularly wrong with that mindset. If I were to editorialize this a little bit, I would just say that at current point we haven't seen where Microsoft has really added onto those studios or helped ferment them to a point where they've actually put out something that was, meeting the standards that we've expected from those studios up to this point.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation that I know you guys.
Yeah, the
have
first
already
one might
heard
be
from me
Psychonauts
multiple
2,
times.
so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, we gotta hope to see. And one last thing that he mentioned about Perfect Dark bringing female protagonists to Xbox first party. Phil goes on to say that I think it's awesome for us. I think it's awesome that for us we can focus on a female protagonist in our lineup. We don't have a lot of that in our first party. It's true. I think
Very true.
Joanna offers a lot of modern opportunities that I love to see the team focusing on, having a strong protagonist. Yeah, look, it's a big thing that we all know has been missing from the Xbox first party lineup. Hellblade is really the only other now first party Xbox title that would have had a female protagonist that I can think of off the top of my
Well, that's
head.
exactly the point, right? Is a lot
Yeah.
of people looked at this and they're saying, well, now you're getting female protagonists, but it's through IPs that you've acquired. You still haven't actually built an IP
Right.
with a female protagonist.
It's
So-
not a situation that now you're seeing, even with you've seen it with PlayStation now with Aloy.
Mhm.
You've seen it with
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. If you want to go as far as saying Rivet now in Ratchet and Clank,
Mhm.
you don't see a lot of representation on that end. And
Better late than never, of course, but
better late than never. But it's something that I think that definitely Xbox needs to refocus on as they continue on moving forward in some of these third party games. And I know that they're trying to do that. I mean, the problem is at the end of the day, and as I keep saying, like they're more than willing to show you 1.5 million trailers of things that they have down the pipeline, but they just still have not actually released games that have these type of protagonists in there that vary up, the gritty white dude with tight shaved hair and Joe Everyman.
Yeah.
It's nice that Joanna's there, but Joanna, I think, should be considered a very light step towards something that could be greater for them.
Yeah. Senua's good too, as you said. So that's they're making moves, even if it's through acquisitions, but it's good moves. Kind of like Marvel finally, with Black Widow. It's like better late than never. But wish you guys would have started earlier. Yeah. Anyway, guys, let's take another short commercial break. When we come back, we're getting into a brand new seasonal segment, which we're really excited about. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So hold on tight, thunderous, quiet. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Season 3, Episode 1 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show, live on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheLevelUpShow on the fourth Sunday of every month. Hit that heart button here. Make sure you get notifications whenever we go live. Myself on Wednesdays and Sundays. And Vince and Tom putting their links in the chat as well. Make sure to give them the follows as well. If you want to go above and beyond, like Baz023S just did with his producer level sub, please sub, tip, cheer, support the show, support the channel, keep us going. We have now hit our daily sub goal, so before the end of the show tonight, we will make sure to give a goal wheel spin for that. And we're also just $3 away from After Show being activated. Yeah, so if anybody wants to keep us around for an extra half hour, $30 in tips does that. And if we get to $60 in tips tonight, we will do a full hour of After Show to keep talking about gaming or talk about other things as well, kind of get things a little bit more conversational. If you guys would like that, it is up to you. Right now, we are going to move on to our exciting new seasonal segment. We're hoping this might be one that comes back in other seasons and something we grow and evolve with time. We're kind of figuring out the rules of it all. It's going to be called Pub Tank. And that's because it's an offshoot of Shark Tank. So the idea is, instead of pitching like a product similar to Shark Tank does, we are pitching our video game ideas. And the ones that aren't pitching are publishers ready to potentially invest in this video idea and take a stake in its development for hopefully recouping those rewards when when it sells. So the way it's going to work is that just kind of go with it here. This is all hypothetical, but the idea is that Tom is presenting tonight. We're looking forward to that, Tom. Vince and I will be publishers with a $20 million investment budget that lasts the entire season.
Okay.
So that's something that if we use all of it tonight, we can no longer invest. Is kind of the way it works. So that investment will then give us a stake, a percentage in which is negotiated in the video game pitch that Tom is going to make tonight, and will ultimately result in the points or the score at the end based on how that game sells, which you guys will have a part in at the very end of the season, determining how well these video game pitches sell. So I've got Tom's presentation here. Very excited about this.
Dude.
But I'm gonna let you like kind of take this over. Like I was gonna do like the music, like dun 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 dun, like Tom walking out. You know, I kind of want to let you have a moment. I'm not gonna put this presentation up on screen until you are ready to go. So Tom, you have the floor.
Yes, welcome everybody. Thank you for having me. I am Jersey Tom, and I have a new wonderful game that I would like to pitch to you all. I believe that it is going to be the next big thing. Worth noting that we also have the stipulation that we're looking for AAA games, games that we feel that will have a sufficient budget attached to it, something that we think that will be able to really take off in a grand scheme, that we're not even just looking for core gamers to like it, but so much more. So much more that can really attract a broad audience into the gaming experience. Something that a story and characters that you could really grab onto and truly connect with in a personal way.
And
I
love what you're saying in combination with what this pitch is.
And I would say that if there is one thing that all of us, regardless of race, creed, gender, religious orientation, what have you, there is nothing more than I think that anyone can truly connect with. Drew, if you would put up the first slide, then the humble dog. The canine, if you will. I give to you Dog Days, a game by Jersey Shore Productions. Drew, you may move on to the next slide. So what is Dog Days? Well, let me tell you, my friend. Dog Days is going to be a third-person adventure game where the player takes control of a dog in 1977 New York City, trying to absolve their owner of a crime they did not commit.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, take that pitch, and Drew, you may continue on to the next slide. I want to talk about the setting for a moment. The setting will be summer of 1977 New York City. And for those of you who are unaware, in 1977, in the summer of New York City, we experienced something in this area which was known as the Great Blackout. Between 2 days, there was no power toward the evening of July 16th, 1977 to July 17th, 1977 to about midday. There was no power. The city was essentially pitch black during that time. So I am using this as an opportunity to use that as a means for the drive of how your owner, as a dog, gets into this situation where they are accused of a crime they didn't commit, because there was a lot of looting, a lot of violence that was going on at that time. So I feel like this is a time period and a setting that I don't think a lot of people have really experienced or seen in games to this point. I think the closest that you could probably say would have been the Warriors video game, but that had a very different feel to it. It was very much more in a very cinematic, very, I don't want to say campy, but very colorful, I would say, look at New York City, specifically with like the gang scene at that point. Dog Days will be looking at a more realistic time in 1977 specifically, with all of the sounds, the advertisements, the clothing, the vehicles on the road. It's going to be a very accurate depiction of New York City at that time. And it will take place over multiple unique locations. That's going to include Central Park, Brooklyn Heights, the Lower East Side, Harlem, Long Island City. Long Island City, well known as a very big docking point in New York City at that time, as well as Shea Stadium in Flushing, Queens, which I view as will be probably where the climax of this taking off. Interesting point, the Mets were playing a series against the Cubs at that time, so there is some connection there as well, me being a sports fan and knowing what had happened during that time. So one of the big drives of this game will be the create a dog system. Players will be able to customize their pooch from a selection of breeds, colors, and level of grooming to that point. Breed selections are not just going to be solely cosmetic, they will affect portions of the game. Larger breeds will be physically imposing over smaller animals in New York, but be more easily spotted by animal control and other adversaries that you come across during the game. Smaller breeds will have an easier time sneaking around areas, catching NPCs by surprise, and will generally be a lot less threatening to the average pedestrian out on the street. But they will be more prone to aggroing other animals that they see. So any of the creatures of New York City, rats, possums, birds, there's a lot of birds of prey that call New York City home. That may look down and see a little, let's say, cavapoo like I have, and might see that as their next meal, or a chihuahua. So you may have to deal with certain other animals, pigeons, as King Kurt has mentioned, that may be viewed as potential prey, or even other dogs may view them as easier breeds for them to push around. But along with that, certain breeds will be better at hearing and smelling than others. Larger breeds will also likely need to have more food and water to maintain peak performance over smaller breeds. So
this is elaborate.
We're talking about the summer of New York City in 1977. It's going to get hot. So certain dogs, I mean, if you're going to have a dog that has a larger, heavier coat, if you're going to have a Newfoundland, for instance, or a Husky, they're going to need to stay cool. So you're going to need to make sure that they're staying in the shade, that they're getting enough water, that they're getting enough food. And
it's like part the Red Dead Redemption 2 of dogs.
Kind of like a Red Dead Redemption, but I'm not looking to go as crazy with that necessarily. But
I do have my first question.
You do have your first question, and I am more than willing to pause for you to answer.
It's a very important question.
It's a very important question. Yes.
Can I control the size of their balls and schlong?
Can you control the size of their genitalia? We are more than willing to listen to feedback from our partners, our potential partners in the game. And I cannot give you an answer at this time, but I am more than willing to have you sit down. If you were so willing to invest in Dog Days, we would absolutely love to have more of your feedback.
I understand maybe fixing them might be off the table, but...
potentially. I mean, we will be more than willing to listen to because with any sort of partnership that we take in, we'd absolutely love anybody to be involved in the creative process of our game.
Okay, all right.
But we are definitely looking to create this as a means for you to play potentially even the dog that you own or the dream dog that you have, to be able to put them into the game and play as them. Or potentially challenge yourself with replayability to be able to go back into the game and try out a different breed of dog in order to see how they would be able to handle the challenges of 1977 New York as a larger, smaller dog, medium-sized dog. It gives you a chance to try it out in different respects. Drew, please, the next slide. I will go ahead and I'll also do that. So let's talk about the gameplay loop. Players will be primarily be looking to advance the story by following clues, what we are calling scents, leading to story quests. Certain scents will break off from the main storyline into side missions and mini games. These will be very similar to smaller one-off events and larger quests which can impact the main story. Players will also need to keep an eye on their hunger and thirst levels and rectifying those issues by begging pedestrians, completing quests, or searching trash or outside restaurants and bodegas. So, generally speaking, you are going to be acting as a stray dog at this point because your owner will be gone. You will be having full reign of New York City at this point.
So this is like a
go,
realistic dog here. We're not talking about like a dog that like has a voice or something like this. Is like this is a dog. It's kind of like Stray,
this
like
is
the cat.
this is a dog, Drew. But we are going to give, for the purpose of thematics and being able to be able to empathize with the dog, to be really treated. There will be voice acting. The dog will be able to have some conversations with other animals. They will not obviously be talking to the humans. But yes, the dogs will generally
They can talk with other animals, so the animals will have voices.
They will be able to communicate with other animals.
That's another layer of this.
Yeah. Part of you being able to find clues will be able to will have you be able to interact with other animals to figure out what is going on, where they saw something happening, and as well as you taking certain quests from other animals. They'll be needing to communicate with you. Hey, look, we need to raid this. We need to take care of this problem. If you help me out, we will help you out in a certain way.
Okay.
So we're looking to do that, but from the perspective of dogs, you will not be able to communicate with any of the human pedestrians that are out on the street or any other human NPCs that you interact with. It will be strictly dedicated solely toward any animals that you come across. So we will move on now to the mechanics. Players will be tasked with activities which will require different gameplay mechanics. Animals will, as I previously mentioned, animals will be able to talk amongst themselves and navigate dialogue trees to get information to advance the story or learn more about the world around them. Players will also have a limited combat capabilities. They will be able to lock onto adversaries and have access to bites, dodges, pounces, tackles, and swipes with their paws. This will be primarily, and this is a very big, important focus of this, I am not looking to create a dogfighting game. This is not what the game is meant to be. But you will need to potentially defend yourself in certain aspects, whether you are being hunted by animal control in New York City or if you have other adversarial dogs. We're not here to try and glorify animal violence. That is not the purpose of this game. But we do recognize at Jersey Shore Productions that there will be certain points in the game where you will need to defend yourself or be able to find your way out of certain precarious situations. So you will have access to certain means of doing that. And you will not be able to just arbitrarily go and attack pedestrians out on the street. This will not be Grand Theft Auto, but dogs.
Okay. All right.
So with that in mind, over the course of the game, players will learn new tricks in order to impress humans, making it easier to beg for food or to hide amongst crowds. So whether that's giving a paw, rolling over, playing dead, dancing on your two hind legs, speaking when prompted to by certain humans that are more willing to accept a dog in their lives versus certain other areas that you may be going across that might be less sympathetic to seeing an animal, where you're still going to need to try and see if you can get something out of those humans, whether it be food, water, even just a little bit of affection, maybe a little scritch behind the ear. You'll be able to learn certain new tricks that will not only just impress the humans, but potentially even also impress some of the other animals that you come across. And with that along, you're not only just going to want to keep to make yourself available to humans, but potentially you might also want to hide from certain things. So stealth mechanics will also be used from time to time to hide from humans or other animals in the shadows, tall grass, bushes, garbage found within the city. You're going to need to find ways to new and creative ways in order to mask your scent, throw pursuers off your trail, whether you're able to have a toy, some food, Potentially, you use your own waste in order to use that as a distraction from certain animals.
Okay.
Like you will be able to find a multitude of ways in order to mask your scent. And this will be very similar to how dogs interact in the daily basis. For instance, my dog Luna, uh, she likes to be able to roll around in certain things. So, for instance, as most people would know who own a dog, they tend to roll around whenever they find like a dead worm, for instance. They would impart their scent onto that worm or take on the scent of that worm. And part of that is to either mark their territory or to mask some of their own scent. So these would be options that would be available to you in order to make it more difficult for animal control or any other pursuer that you may have in order to follow you, who are going to be looking for your scent, looking for footprints, or something else of that nature. Okay, so now we move on to let's do a little bit more of a deep dive into the story quests. So the story quests themselves will break down into several different types of missions. Players will be tasked with searching for clues by following the villain's trail to certain buildings or areas they've been. Clues will be obtained via following scents, asking questions of other animals in the area, and finding belongings of your owner scattered around the world. Quests may divert players from their original goal, such as raiding a restaurant delivery to feed a pack of stray dogs or to rescue others from animal control. Certain quests will have set-piece moments as the player character flees from animal control or defends itself from adversarial humans or animals. These moments will put their skills to the test at various key points in the game. So we want to be able to reward the player by taking all of the mechanics and things that they've learned up to that point in the game by giving them certain moments, whether it be, say, escaping a warehouse that potentially could be housing an important clue leading toward the person who set up your owner, or trying to make a breakout of the pound where other animals are being held, and the only way a certain animal is going to help you out is if they're able to get some of their other friends out of the pound. Those will be certain areas where you will be able to utilize some of the actions that you've learned up to that point and put them to a test in a real set piece moment that we believe will really reward the player by giving them a cinematic and exciting point in the game where they will be able to really feel rewarded by learning all the different actions that you can utilize in the game. Drew, we can move on to the next slide. And now I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about the side quests and mini games, because it's not just going to be solely focusing on your main quest. Players will be given the option of engaging in regularly occurring events in the world, as well as wholly separate side missions. Missions will include things like leading a lost child back to their family, helping animals being nabbed by animal control, or getting food for others. Minigames will include playing tug of war, fetch, tag, and racing other dogs around the environment. Certain actions, like begging or constantly harassing pedestrians, will gain the attention of animal control, who may start to chase the player around the city. The player will need to lose their pursuers before continuing on their quests, as outlined previously in the mechanics. So we want to give players an opportunity to not necessarily burn through the game immediately, but be able to engage with the world of 1977 New York. Whether that be, as I've mentioned, helping out a lost child find their way back to their mother or their parents, whether that be helping somebody out of a burning building. All these different possibilities exist for you to utilize from the perspective of a dog, how they would handle a certain situation. And I feel like that would be a very unique way to experience the city of New York, because as we've seen New York in the perspective of how many different ways. We've seen it in from Spider-Man flying through the city. We've seen it through Grand Theft Auto as somebody driving around. But we feel here at Jersey Shore Productions that it would be a very unique way for you to experience it from the super ground level. of being able to see how people will interact with you as an animal, as opposed to just another human being walking along the street. And with that in mind, I do want to mention as well that we don't expect to open up the entirety of New York City by itself from the get-go for a small four-legged friend to be able to interact with. We do expect that we will have certain areas open to you on a chapter-by-chapter basis. So one chapter will be taking place, for instance, in Battery Park. Another chapter will take place in Central Park. Another chapter in
So it
Long
is
Island
not
City.
open world then.
It will not be open world, but the areas themselves that you will be in, Drew, to that point, they will be expansive enough to where you will get your time's worth, and you will be notified that there may or may not be more things for you to do in a certain area before you leave.
Okay.
Certainly you will be able to have a chapter select option for you to go back and play through a certain area, but we do want to be able to give certain parts of New York City their due by hyper-focusing on certain areas of New York as opposed to breaking off on the entirety of New York City from the get-go. We feel like that might be a little bit too daunting, especially from the perspective of you being a dog. You're not going to have easy access to just bolt from one end of the city to the other one in a short amount of time. So, where do you come in, our Pup Sharks? I am seeking $20 million for a 15% stake in this IP. The money will go toward asset creation for rendering as realistic and accurate a portrayal of New York City in 1977 as possible, using satellite data and historical footage. Motion capture of different dog breeds will be also something that we're looking into, because different breeds of dog will have different gaits. They will jump differently. They will act differently, given certain respects. So we feel that it's going to be important to have motion capture data of a greyhound versus, say, a Pomeranian. They're going to act very differently. They'll jump. They'll run differently depending on the size, weight, distribution of dogs. And then there will also be other general expenses, salaries, marketing, the cost of getting onto the PlayStation Store, the other things that we have to, the things that we have to like really be concerned about. And with that, Drew, you did not show my last slide.
One more, okay.
We had one last slide.
Oh,
I would like to make sure.
Aww.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that is my presentation of Dog Days.
A good presentation, man.
And I open it up to you and Vincent. If you guys have any questions, I would be more than happy to
$20 million for a 15% stake. So you're valuing the production of this individual game at $130 million plus dollars.
I'm viewing this. We are going to go on a full AAA experience. We are looking to really dive in and give you an in-depth look at New York City during that time frame.
I mean, I get it based on the scale,
as well as Drew, give each dog breed that you could potentially play its due. We are looking to really be the dog game. Not just a dog game. We are looking to be the dog game.
I'll be completely honest. When it first started, I was like, I don't know about this. But as it went on, I'm not even so much looking at it from myself, but I do think this does have potentially wide appeal. People definitely looked at Stray and were immediately attracted to that with the cat. And I do think that if you are going as far as to really try and allow people to create any type of dog breed, whether it be a mud or whatever, I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of fun with that. I think it definitely appeals to both men and women in that way. I do think that your setting is very interesting, unique. I have to ask, is there a day-night cycle in this? Are the chapters...
That's actually what I was going to ask, is how much of a dynamic world is actually presented in these hub areas between chapters?
Right. We do not anticipate that we will be having a dynamic world in the sense that the longer you spend at a certain point, the weather is going to change or to that effect. We're definitely going to keep the weather dictated toward the narrative that we're trying to put out.
Like if it were to
So
rain, it would mess up their scent.
exactly.
Right.
And if we want it to rain, we would like it to rain for the specific thematic purpose of why we would need it to rain. We're not looking to make things more difficult for you if you're working on a side mission for it to suddenly rain and make things more difficult for you. Or maybe we do want for a specific side mission. We definitely want to try and keep it a lot closer to that. Now, certainly, we wouldn't have you be in a situation where you are running around, let's say, Harlem, and it being a completely sunny day, and then all of a sudden you enter a mission and it's raining. We would definitely have it be more of an overcast day, or if it's already previously raining toward that. We're not looking to completely jar you in that respect. But it would definitely be something that we are going to lead you to understand, like, hey, there's some bad weather on the horizon. Plus, summer in New York City, Drew, at least I know you know that living up in the Northeast, summer rains, you can rarely predict them.
Yeah.
They can come and go as they
I
please.
do have to ask, if one of these chapters takes place at night,
Yes.
what are the light sources if there's a blackout?
Well, the blackout happens over 2 days, and the
Mhm.
point that I am trying to give is that the opening chapter will be taking place during the blackout because the blackout only happened for a certain amount of time
Okay.
over the course of 2 days. So the days following that you are going to be playing, the power does
So
come
the
back.
investigation happens afterwards. Gotcha. Okay, I was a little
Yes,
concerned about that because I'm trying to
yes.
imagine like how is this going to work if you
So
barely have any light?
the blackout itself is the framing device around which the
The
story is
crime
thrust
happening.
upon.
Yeah.
Yes. Then
Okay.
that will be used
Uh-oh.
as a potential tutorial segment for you. Light sources that you see throughout during that time. As you may or may not be aware, if you've seen any archival footage or photographs of that time, there were a lot of fires going on in the city. There were still cars
That's
out
true.
on the street that would
That could be
have
a very visual
lights.
treat.
So there are still certain light sources that you would have during that segment where you will need to, because as I can explain to you, the opening of the game will take place during that time, and you will be having during the early morning hours as the sun is rising over New York City. You will be trying to escape from animal control that is coming to pick you up along with your owner.
Okay.
Because they're not just going to leave a dog as most wouldn't. They wouldn't just leave an animal in a building. They would take it at that point. But your goal at that point is to get out, and since your owner is being taken away, at that point you're searching for freedom. So that the blackout will only affect the very beginning of the game, after which then the power will come back. At night segments, you will have power and other light sources available to you.
Considering a $130+ million budget,
Yes.
I have to imagine that you have somebody in mind, male and female wise, for voice acting. No? You have anybody in mind?
We have certain ideas on on celebrity casts. We are currently in talks with certain high profile actors who are very interested in the role. Michael B. Jordan. I don't want to go too much here, but Michael B. Jordan has shown a great interest
That'd be a big grab. I do think you
playing,
need a little bit of star power here.
in playing the main dog. We have certain other ones. We have a Schnauzer that we're getting some interest from Liam Neeson's people. He seems to be very interested in the Schnauzer.
See, this is what I'm talking about here. There is actual potential here.
There is potential
because the personalities of these dogs can really come back. You go with a lot of stereotypical, tropey type things when it comes to specific dogs and their breeds and the voice acting and the personalities that correspond to those. There's a lot of fun that could be had here, especially considering that the animals talk to each other. I do see potential in this. I'm interested. I think that my concern right now is, am I investing in a single game or am I investing in an IP? And
Right.
in order to really get return on investment, I'm not sure I see this as an IP that will continue. Do you have any response to that?
We would certainly be open to opening up Dog Days to be a multi-game franchise. And we may not necessarily stick within the story of the dog that you take on, but we would be absolutely interested in finding out this IP because this is something that myself and the rest of the studio feel very passionate in. And we feel that we are delivering a very unique experience that has not been seen or accessed by a greater collection of the gaming community, or within the spectrum of games that have been produced as of late to this point. We feel that this could absolutely, yes, be something that
Okay.
could move on.
Yeah, I think if you switch dogs and maybe even switch to different time periods and have it focused on like big events that happened in history and the story being framed within that and almost like an Assassin's Creed type thing there, I think
Yes.
there is some potential. I could see that. I do understand that. Okay. Vince, I'm kind of curious. How you feeling, man, on this?
It's kind of same reaction to what you had. At first, I was kind of like, "What?" And I like the boldness of it, to be
Yeah. There
honest.
is nothing else like it, not to this scale, that's for sure.
Not to the scale. There's definitely, for me, there's more concerns about game to game moment is really where it's more concerned for me. And Tom, you've done a great job of at least explaining some of the world mechanics there. Um, and I'm sorry, just for some clarification here. So when you're talking, create a breed, everything like that, are we looking at like a skill based leveling system? Do we have a leveling system in place there, or is it going to be much more simple systemic tools, and you just kind of get the basics and kind of get all your stuff you have there at the start of the game, and it's more about how the player applies them as they progress?
Yes, you will be able to learn certain other things, of certain other mechanics, certain other things that you can do as the dog throughout the course of the game. Because when you're looking at the where you start off very much as a domesticated pet. Someone you're starting off
Okay.
as someone's pet. You're not necessarily concerned with the idea of survival at that point. The most that you would presumably have spent during that time is the occasional walk, maybe the occasional trick
So are we talking about a skill
for a
tree
little
here?
treat. We're talking about potential of a skill tree with certain skills that you will learn throughout the game
And that you'll
that
need
will
in future
be that
chapters.
you will need a future chapter. Certain things that are like these are certain talents and certain things that you will need to have moving on through the game. But there will be certain other things such as potentially increasing your run speed, increasing your
But you wouldn't call this an RPG. This is not an
I
RPG.
would not call this an RPG. It may have some RPG elements, but I would not
So it'd be a
consider this an
light.
RPG. You're not going to, for instance, be able to put on accessories that will affect your stats.
Okay.
Though we are open to the idea of potentially, giving yourself a little
Yeah, I was gonna
sash,
say you gotta
for
have that,
instance.
or I'm out.
Perhaps maybe wear some goggles. Maybe have potentially a collar uh, of some sort. There will be definitely customization
In
options in that respect
investigation
as
scenes,
well.
are we thinking like something like Heavy Rain style, where you go in like investigation mode and like you're looking like following sends, picking up clues, putting it together?
Right. We're looking for this to be a chance for you to be able to kind of act as a detective from the perspective of canine and how a canine would think and put together a situation. So we're not looking for your as you mentioned, a heavy rain scenario. We're not looking at the idea of them being able to use technology in order to help solve a crime, but very rudimentary things such as you mentioned, sense, being able to follow tracks and be able to piece together what was going on, what had happened in a certain area, as well as I mentioned, potentially talking to other animals to get a gauge on what's going on and what's happening
Mhm.
within the world around you.
Okay, I'm willing to make an offer.
Okay.
It's not going to be 20 million though. I'm not going to. I can't use my entire investment budget on this game. I don't think. Not on the first pitch. I'd be willing to go in with you, Vince, if you wanted to split it and maybe go in it together. But if I'm doing this, I would be willing to invest $10 million, but I still want the 15%.
Okay.
I'm not willing to go below 15%. I need to have enough skin in the game. I need to have enough influence. Like, in my opinion, one thing I'll say right off the bat, like, this dog does not die at the end of the game. There's no dog death. Like, this dog cannot die.
We are not looking to kill the dog at the end of the game. Well, that is not the
No
intention.
sacrifice to save your human by the dog.
No.
That's one of my things I'm going to say right off the bat.
No morality system either, by the way.
So if you're looking for the 20 million, I don't know, Vince, if you would be willing to do the other 10. But that would mean 30% between two of us. Yeah. We do 30%, $20 million, 10 from each of us.
Yeah, I mean, since you're offering, that does seem like that, because I wasn't even going to do the 20 million. I was even going to maybe go even lower, but I like the boldness of it. There's something very unique here. But I think there's definitely things that need to be kind of hashed a little bit. And if like I said, I think that the concept, the idea is fantastic. It has broad appeal. Most people love pets.
I do think it does. I agree.
They love dogs. So
I think narrative is where this game could really fall. I know mechanics are a major part, but I do think you have to have a tight, well-told narrative, especially with it not being open world, being chapter based. Like, this has to tell a good
That story. Is certainly what we're looking at. We are looking to give a very narrative focused game with some still a chance for exploration, but the narrative is going to be centerpiece for this title. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Drew. If you are extending that offer out, I will meet you with 10 million as well.
Would you be willing to give up 30% between the two of us, Tom?
You both want 15%.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the exact same deal.
10 million from each of us. We each get 15%.
So I'm giving up 30% control of this game.
Yes. And profits. And 30% of the profits.
For the same amount.
Yeah. I can't give more. I'm not going to give more than 10 million. If you have a counter,
and I understand that. I am willing to meet you halfway. I will not ask for more than the 10 million, but I will throw out split between the two of you 25%, so that would put you both at
12.5.
12.5.
10 million for 12.5. I'll do it.
You'll do it?
I'll do it. Vince, are you
Vince?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this has potential to sell pretty well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry. The potential there is way too much. So it's just, it's definitely going to be rough waters. This is definitely going to be a very rough navigation to do, but
this is something that me and the team feel very strongly about. We are committed in order to deliver the best possible narrative based game that we can, and we feel that this is going to revolutionize the idea of the pet based gaming experience.
Okay.
All right.
You got a deal, Tom. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good pitch.
There we go.
Very good pitch.
You have investors. I do think that there's some great potential in this title. I'm putting down Vince and myself as $10 million each. You got your 20 million. And between the two of us, we are taking 25%.
Be sure to catch Dog Days coming to you in August of 2030.
2030. All right, we got plenty of time to develop this thing.
Plenty of time to navigate all this.
Yeah,
plenty of time.
A good first addition to that segment, I think.
I love it. Tom, that was fantastic.
Yeah, you really went in, man.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
You really went in. I loved it.
You really thought that out.
You know, it's funny. I mean, for anybody who knows me, I'm a very big historical fiction kind of guy. It's one of the things that initially drove me toward Assassin's Creed, as Akume mentions in the chat. So it's definitely a time period that I don't think has been very that has been explored a whole lot. As I mentioned, pretty much the only game that I can think of would be the Warriors video game, where it was more about the like being true to the movie as opposed to being true to 70s New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it acted in only the way that Rockstar could show it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel that having it at the perspective of a dog, I think a lot of people will connect, and I think it's a very interesting perspective to take a game.
I agree. I
think
a
I
lot
hope
of
that
potential
you
there.
in the chat and the community would be as excited to play a game like that as I would. Be sure to vote for me when the time comes.
That's an important note to make because that's the way this is going to work.
Yes.
So Vince and I now will take 12.5% of the profits each from this game sale. So at the end of the season, I will make sure to isolate these pitches and post them all on Discord so you can watch them again if you would like. And you will have the opportunity to vote on which games from the season that you would actually buy. And that is going to determine how much profit each of us makes. Tom, of course, will get 75% of this game's profits. Vince and I will each get 12.5%. So overall score at the end of the season for each publisher will depend on you guys voting for which games you would be willing to buy. All right.
Cool beans.
Moving on, we are going to wrap this shit up, you guys, because we still have the speed run. And it's a big one, unfortunately. We're gonna go a little long because there is a lot of like really good stories in this speed run that I don't want to blow through, but we're gonna go as fast as we can here. I'm gonna put 30 minutes on the clock. Let's go back to the TV here so we can put that up on screen. And let's get into our first story in the speed run, coming from the state of play that happened this month. For PlayStation, let's blow through the lesser announcements. You had Jet the Far Shore in there. You had Arcadegeddon. And you had Moss Book 2 announced for PSVR, which I think is actually pretty cool. Excited that that's happening because Moss was a really cool game for PSVR 1. And then this one's for PSVR 1 as well. Let me just make sure. This is not for PSVR 2. Moss Book 2 is for PSVR. We had the Deathloop Deep Dive. Let's start with that since that was the longest portion of it.
Yep.
I was not interested in this game before the show started, before State of Play started, and I would say that I still am not interested in this game. Personally, I did not think it was a very great showing for it, I have to say.
No, it was a very tough showing for that game. Considering I thought that they did better showings of that earlier, and I mean, I'm still gonna be there day one. This had a really weird, clunky presentation to it that some arcade games usually tend to show off a little bit. Like if you try to watch any loops of Prey or Dishonored, if it's not someone who's doing like a speed run or someone who's doing like a really high technical showcase, these games have a really weird. They don't show well, but they play well. You know, that's saying it's kind of weird. It's very bizarre. We've talked about this a little bit before on the show before, Andrew. So yeah, it kind of sucked, but good news is this should be the last time we see it. On a big major show.
But the other one up on screen right now, very exciting for you, Vince, I know, and for many others.
Exciting.
Death Stranding Director's Cut was detailed further in this State of Play. One thing I found out is that Hideo Kojima actually didn't want to call it that. He didn't want to call it Director's Cut, which I understand because he's the director and that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But they're adding a lot of great quality of life things, in my opinion, to improve the traversal and the gameplay loop, which I found to be very slow. So for somebody like myself, I'm not going to go back to it, but I do think some of these things like the buddy bots or the catapults or and a few other things as well that improve the melee combat, I think those are welcomed additions for sure.
Yeah, that's agreed.
New story missions too.
Yeah, I don't like the Director's Cut moniker. I don't even like it for Ghost of Tsushima, to be honest, either. I would like expanded edition as more of an actual jargon for these games. I don't like this Director's Cut type deal. It kind of fits in this whole thing that Sony's going for this like big art house type deal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Director's Cut thing kind of just, it feels weird to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that is the reasoning behind it, though, overall.
Yeah.
We had something announced during the State of Play, but we will call it a delay watch. Delay watch, you guys, because Sifu was announced as delayed during the State of Play to 2022. Take as much time as you need. I think the game looks really cool myself. I love what they're doing with the mechanics, as we see on screen right now, how fluid the martial arts It's some of the most fluid combat I've seen in the martial arts space in a video game.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah.
You interested?
Oh, I'm all in on Sifu when it comes out. Yeah, this is probably the most fluid combat system that I've seen since the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see how this would act mechanically speaking, if it's any different than that.
Also, I think a really cool concept with him aging throughout it. I think it might have something to do with death as well. And
An interesting way that they handle this as a
medallion.
to keep you back in.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely.
And I'm wondering
interested
what mechanics are with that as well.
Ghostwire Tokyo was also delayed, which we totally expected. That's
Yeah.
coming now early 2022. We want to get the game in your hands as soon as possible so you can experience the unforgettable version of a haunted Tokyo. So another one of those games that is technically an Xbox
Exclusive.
first-party title, but coming exclusively to PlayStation.
And I think for at least 6 months too.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
Duroc, thank you so much for $3 tip. Activating after show. We're doing it. Thank you so much, Duroc. Moving on to another event that happened this month. EA Play with a couple of big exciting announcements. The biggest one being Dead Space Remake official. Got a little bit to talk about here. As mentioned in the reveal trailer, the game is being built using EA's Frostbite engine. It's going to be exclusive to next gen.
I'm so happy.
Yes.
Good.
Early in
I'm happy to
development,
hear that.
no time frame right now. Team is starting with an original level design from the original game. The rest of the game is being rebuilt from the ground up for Frostbite rather than being ported, so that means new textures, models, animations, sounds, effects. Dornbush states that the game is not only looking at what immediately happened in Dead Space 2 to reference, but also the expanded Dead Space universe, the novels, movies, etc. EA Motive doesn't plan for the game to have any microtransactions. They even said that they thought it was one of the big mistakes of previous Dead Space games was going with microtransactions, so that's good news. They're bringing in some elements of Dead Space 2, 3, for instance, the improved zero gravity stuff. They're going to incorporate that into the remake, and they're even talking with the community every 2 to 3 weeks with their ideas, making sure that big fans of the franchise are on board with their ideas. I'm really excited for this. They're kind of
I
like
love how dirty this game looks already.
Yeah.
Like, even that real small reveal trailer, I was like, the art style is perfect already.
just that Dead Space is coming back. I know a lot of people wanted a sequel, for example.
Yeah.
But it's back, and if it does well, then maybe we could get a true sequel, right? That's what we can
Or
all
this
hope
could
for.
be
A true
this could be
sequel
true
to 2,
sequel.
of course.
I mean,
Right.
this
Because
actually
no
looks
game
like-
was ever made after
Yeah.
2, as we all know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But we also had sorry to keep us moving here.
Yeah,
Battlefield
keep going.
had game modes and portal mode revealed. Really cool trailer.
This
here
seems
for
really
Portal.
fun.
Yeah, so from what I can understand, this is just kind of like merging like all the different Battlefield settings and allowing you to just pick and choose. I want to throw this element in, that element in, even if it's different eras. Just throw this all together in this crazy Portal mode, and have this sandbox Battlefield experience in a sense. Cool trailer though.
It's
Looks
as
exciting.
close to Foundry as I think Battlefield is going to allow you to get to.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way for the community to be able to experience different game modes that people can put together. I think it's an awesome idea, and I can't wait to see what people do with it.
Yeah, for sure. Netflix is going to expand into video games next year. We were going to have this as a level update topic because we thought it was huge news, but it's not quite as big as we originally thought. It is going to at least be at the start focused on mobile titles, but even so, this is Netflix getting into the gameplay space and at no extra fee to subscribers, which is the most important part. They are going to add a gaming area to Netflix, and all subscribers are going to have access to it. So they're probably going to try and get people on board, right, with mobile, get people involved in the space, and then maybe it gradually moves towards more substantial titles. One thing that people found within the app on iOS for Netflix is Ghost of Tsushima artwork and DualSense controllers. So also leads to some rumors, theories that could PlayStation actually get itself involved with this Netflix gaming and have it be a way of taking a shot at Game Pass. Do you think it would be a smart trajectory for PlayStation to take?
I just kind of thought about this. There's been rumors of a PlayStation Now reboot, right?
Right.
Could you imagine if Sony and Netflix made an agreement to where they integrated now into
Into
Netflix,
Netflix.
and it's the PS3 games and the PS4 games, and then maybe later PS5 games?
Exactly. That's what a lot
That's
of people are
huge.
wondering, if that is their game plan to bolster PS Now and get it into a lot of people's homes and into their hearts and minds, is through Netflix.
Wow.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But right now it is just focused on mobile stuff. Another big story this month was focused on Stadia. They had a new Stadia Presents, whatever you want to call it, up on screen right now. And something that was revealed during that is that there is a pay per engagement plan that they are adopting with Google Stadia that is causing a lot of developers to fear for the future of subscription-based gaming. Because with pay per engagement, this is really about keeping people in the game hours at a time, having them actually, come back over and over and over again, which changes how people develop games. It makes it so that maybe you front load the game as far as exciting moments, or maybe you put in the gambling type mechanics to keep people coming back. It's kind of like Spotify, for example, how it changed the music landscape, and that now a lot of people, when they produce their music, the first 30 seconds are everything. You got to hook people in the first 30 seconds, because that is how they make their revenue on Spotify. They have to get past 30 seconds. So that's why you don't get a lot of prog rock 10-minute epics anymore, like what Coldplay just put out with Color Chora, which was a surprise from them. So does this affect the way games are developed if Game Pass goes this route and things like that?
I don't think that Stadia exists beyond making silly announcements like this. I think this is a terrible idea. This is like a throw something against the wall to see if it sticks idea from Stadia, trying to maintain some sort of relevancy. I don't see this going anywhere.
Even worse, go ahead, Vince. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, just wait for the twist here. Although there are some exceptions, hence confusion, the dev source confirmed with us that the vast majority of devs, Stadia Pro is switching to a much closer Google Play style assist Android premium game monetization. So they're doing that whole thing. As to say, no money up front and sole compensation being 70% of all Pro subscription monthly revenue, split between partners based on how many session days players have spent on their games. What's more, we were told with some of those upcoming Pro deals had their guaranteed upfront money from being a Stadia Pro title switched to a variable revenue based on the Pro split. So they've essentially just reneged on the whole Pro split deal that they had, Tom. They literally just were like, nope, never mind.
Which they could do. Technically, it was in the contract to allow them to do that, but yeah, like they're backing out of these agreements per a clause probably, and it's they're I don't even understand.
Every time that we talk about Stadia on this show, I feel so tired. I'm so.
It's not because it's 11:06 p.m.
No, the actual time frame has absolutely nothing to do with Stadia. Any time that it's uttered, I'm just like, I need to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talked to Stadia with me in any sort of seriousness.
Well, let's get back to acquisitions then, because more acquisitions, guys. Tencent has acquired the Sumo Group, Sumo Digital, which we talked about earlier during NLG's Got Game, acquired them for $1.3 billion.
Wow.
So Sumo worked on Sackboy: A Big Adventure, but here's the thing: this doesn't mean that they can't work on a Sackboy game again. Tencent doesn't really work that way, as far as I can tell. Like, they would totally be open to allowing Sumo to continue working on a PlayStation exclusive
game. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually not the worst. Like, I know a lot of people are really against Tencent because they're China-based, but in my mind, they're kind of like the lesser evil than, for me, Microsoft, actually, and especially less than Google or Amazon. So I'm okay with this if it had to happen, I guess. But that's not all. Unity has acquired interactive data visualization, makers of SpeedTree, and Epic has acquired Sketchfab.
The Epic story is kind of scary because that's a big it's kind of almost getting to become monopoly based in game development wise.
They're really taking a large piece of the pie for sure, without a doubt. A lot of people are a little fearful of that. So yeah, more and more consolidation. It's I know Phil Spencer talked about it, like how this is normal, like, but it feels like it's happening more than ever right now. Like there's like a spike in acquisitions right now.
There's certainly an arms race between certain publishers. It's very clear that there is.
Vince, this was kind of crazy. Resident Evil 8, the cracked PC code, Digital Foundry has found that it actually runs better than the retail release.
And I know we're a small channel here with this and types of stuff like that, but I gotta give a shout out to Digital Foundry. Like,
Oh my
they
God, yeah.
did something that, most people would shy away from. You would not want to like piss off your engagement partners or content partners at all. And they did this video and it is scathing. It is, I actually forget the data points already. It's literally like, what is it? 75% performance drops.
Some
with
in
the
certain
actual-
areas, yep.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, man. It's absolutely absurd the kind of stuff
And the
that they were able to expose.
And is it because of DRM that
It's
is
the
causing
DRM.
this?
It's the Devueno DRM that is causing. It's just sloppy. I hate to say this because I don't know actual mechanics of this. It is just poorly designed code that throttles on top of CPUs and everything like that. And something like RE Engine, very heavily dependent on CPU and GPU performance. It just throttles it that bad. I mean, like the one goes from being like up to like, it's ridiculous. It's like sub single digit frames to full 60 frames in the cracked code. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I don't know. It's good, as you said. It's good that Digital Foundry put a spotlight on this, that because a lot of people are paying attention to it now, and maybe it does affect Denuvo or its system and how it affects performance in video games moving forward, especially in Capcom games, because it seems like is this not the only one that has had?
I think this is the second game that had major issues for sure. And the thing is, like, it shouldn't. Like, we have PS5 and Series X running these games. It's 4K 60 frames for the most part on the Series X's part. And you're having full rigs like 3080s and everything like that are with, Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 and Ryzen 9 CPUs that are like, yeah, I can't even get 1440p at 30 frames sometimes because of that.
We have Assassin's Creed up on screen, and that's because it is official news that Assassin's Creed is becoming a live service platform. A lot of people very upset about this. I know, Vince, you said you just kind of saw it as the trajectory that they were going.
Yeah, I saw this coming a mile away, and I'm kind of surprised people are outraged by this. This just feels like what this was going to become anyway.
So you did like you buy it once in a subscription service, and then, hey, we're going to feudal Japan. And that's it. Like, just stay subscribed and you're going to feudal Japan.
Yeah, I just think so. Like, in the sense of that, and it might not have been just even that. I just foresaw it just being a platform at this point. That's what the games are now at this point. They're platform games that have their expansion packs in the franchise for the most part. They're expensive expansion packs, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense in the way that I've always said, like EA Sports, like, why aren't they doing this?
Right.
Why isn't just Madden a subscription, a live service game, and every year they release a roster pack and you have to buy the roster pack, or if you want to buy the new features, you buy the new features, but it's really just it's a live service platform. Like, once you buy it once, you're in. Like, you have Madden, you just have to stay subscribed and you get the new rosters, you get the the new features. I agree. It doesn't surprise me. I'm not in Assassin's Creed, so maybe I just don't have enough skin in the game to care. But moving on from that, Konami is now officially teaming up with Bloober for new projects. It is not confirmed to be Silent Hill, although that has been the rumors for quite a while now. But it is, there's something happening here. This is like a established partnership now between Konami and Bloober. And I mean, everything's pointing to them having their own Silent Hill game. Almost like there's going to be multiple Silent Hill games. And a lot of people are not happy about it. Because the Medium I heard was mediocre. I thought Blair Witch was less than mediocre. That game was not good.
Layers of Fear and Fears 1 and Fear 2 is actually really good. And Observer, from what I understand, is actually really good.
Observer was pretty cool from what I played, yeah.
But the thing is, the Medium, what I heard, what really kills that is narrative stuff. A lot of the gameplay stuff, people kind of enjoyed it. It seemed like a lot of people have like a lot of issues with the narrative. And the music was great, though.
Yeah, we actually don't have that in the speedrun, but yeah, Thunder Squad Skull and Bones is...
We can talk about that after show.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after show. That's a good idea. Moving on to Kojima now. Speaking of Silent Hills, there's a rumor, but it's probably not even a rumor at this point, but Kojima has signed a letter of intent to work on an exclusive Xbox game. So to anybody that doesn't know what a letter of intent means, like, it pretty much just means that they're partnered up to work on a game. They signed something saying like, yeah, I'd like to work on something with you.
It's a pinky promise.
Yeah, kind of. Like there's like this is probably the easiest contractual
We'll
agreement to
make a
get out
game.
of. Yeah, like this could fall apart. Like it probably won't, as Jeff Grubb pointed out, it probably won't fall apart, but yeah, it's a letter of intent. Speaking of somebody in real estate, I can tell you these kind of things fall apart all the time. So what are they working on? It could be the seasonal game
Stadia.
or the Stadia game, the
episodic
episodic
horror
game.
The Strand game.
Like letter of intent could mean like that he just like pitched the idea and Xbox is like, yeah, that sounds good. Will you do it for Xbox?
This.
Yeah, sign. Okay, cool. You know, we have a relationship. Hopefully we work together. That's the idea right now, is that we're going to work together. So we'll have to wait and see what continues with that. But right now it's kind of at like the bud, you know, it's really just getting started. Grub, not gruff, but yes.
Classic rub.
Yes. Another rumor. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming in 2025 and will have an ever-evolving map.
This is huge.
GameSpot writes, Tom Henderson, who previously leaked Call of Duty and Battlefield 2042 details, has released a new video, and in it, he claimed that GTA 6 will be set in a modern-day version of Vice City. Yes. This runs contrary to previous reports that GTA 6 would be set in the 1980s, with Henderson claiming that developer Rockstar wants to ensure as much freedom as possible for its staff when it comes to creating content for GTA Online. Henderson also discussed the potential for the GTA 6 map to change over time, similar to how Epic Games regularly overhauls its Fortnite map during end-of-season events. There was also a mention of GTA 6 having multiple playable characters, something which GTA 5 introduced to the series when it first came out.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
I'm really excited for when we finally get to see it. I will definitely be very excited.
Yeah, we missed my prediction of seeing the logo, so maybe that'll be next year.
That is true. Yeah, maybe that's next year.
Yeah.
Although they're usually pretty close to release when they announce a game, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty decent.
Roughly.
Yeah.
The only one I think I remember actually had real issues with GTA 4, and that makes sense because of what they were doing with it. GTA
Yeah.
4 got delayed a few times.
But so you said, I already have an Xbox. When it comes to, will Kojima get you to buy an Xbox exclusive? Moving on, The Witcher 3 Complete Edition was revealed at WitcherCon. And what's kind of crazy about it is it's going to incorporate some of the Netflix show in the form of DLC.
Cool.
They're really banking on that. I
Right.
finally just finished
More
the
Henry
Netflix series.
Cavill.
More Henry Cavill. They're not making him look like Henry Cavill, but they did kind of change the look of him if you're going by the box art. He kind of looks a little bit different.
A little bit, yeah.
I want to say he looks like Henry Cavill, but he does look a little bit different. So yeah, it's gonna have the next gen updates, the PS5 and Xbox Series X next gen updates. Final Fantasy. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead. Keep
Final
going.
Fantasy 16. Let me skip forward in the video here so we can be on track. I'm actually moving faster than I thought. Final Fantasy 16 might skip Tokyo Game Show. God, no why. GameSpot writes, well, they had an interview. Yoshi P said this: we have all the scenarios set in stone already, and the voice recording for the English version is in its final stages. Development is going well. It's quite difficult to make sure the quality is amazing. We want the next announcement to be something where everyone watches and says, I'm going to buy this game. Thus, we are putting a lot of effort to make sure the quality is great. I want to show something at TGS, but I'm not sure if we will make that deadline. I don't like throwing out bits to string people along with small updates, so I want to show it when it's ready. Okay, that's I get it. That's totally fine. Yeah,
it's Yoshi P. It's how he produces. It's how he's gonna do it.
Yep.
Have faith with the dude,
I
guys.
just want to see it so bad, man.
I know, but good.
But here's the thing: once they show it,
I feel like he really wants to show like expansive gameplay. Like he wants you to know what this game is, and that be the selling point.
Yeah, and I think once they do have that big reveal again, it's not going to be that far away.
Nope,
it'll be months away. Like not like maybe less than even half a year away. Once they show it finally. You might have noticed in there, he said the English version is in its final stages of voice recording. The reason for that is that they're actually doing the English voice recording and motion capture, facial capture first.
I'm so excited about
That's crazy.
I'm so thrilled by this.
So Yoshida said, we've been prioritizing English voice recording, and we're specifically doing it in British English. We're using facial capture, so later on we won't have to adjust by hand each of the faces during cutscenes, and it's full capture, as in motion capture, actors, are also doing the voice acting simultaneously. Well, we're not doing it for every single cutscene, but anyway, that's why English dubbing has progressed the most. The Japanese dubbing will start soon. So they haven't even started Japanese dubbing yet, but they're almost done English.
Yeah,
That's
they
crazy.
want this to, Drew. They want this to be Final Fantasy Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear 16 is going that route. They want to go hard fantasy and they want to appeal directly to Western audiences.
It's exciting for me in a lot of ways. I hope it doesn't lose like the Japanese essence. Like I get that they're trying to appeal to Western audiences and all that, but it still is Final Fantasy. I hope that in their next showing I get that vibe. It doesn't have to have like the super animated characters and all that, but I do want to feel that Japanese culture in there. Final Fantasy 14 is sold out, Vince, even digitally right now.
It's insanity. It's insanity.
What is going on?
So there's multiple factors here. That's way too long for a speed run. Essentially what happened was WoW is having issues for other reasons beyond the actual big story that's going on there. Streamers are jumping on to Final Fantasy 14, which is then prompting their followers to jump on Final Fantasy 14. So the servers are at capacity. So Square Enix is doing the appropriate thing of not taking more orders. They're stopping the population because like they can't, there's no capacity left in the servers. There's no capacity left. So instead of having people having to deal with buying a product and then going, I can't play this game, they're putting the limit right there. There is a multi-million-dollar server upgrade coming out, like I think in the next month or two, in preparation for Endwalker. It just wasn't ready yet. Is what kind of happened.
It is crazy how this game
exploded.
exploded.
Was it Yoshi P? Like who was it who came out and was just basically like, please be less excited for this game. please be less hype.
They instituted a 30 minutes log off thing now to kick people if they're idle, which is totally fine in my opinion. If you're just going to sit around for 30 minutes, you shouldn't be occupying the server. So I 100% am okay with that. They're preparing for Endwalker because it's going to be insane.
You guys got to remember, Endwalker comes out Thanksgiving. It comes out the week of Thanksgiving. It is the most insane, mind-boggling thing that they're going to do. I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, man. Continuing with Final Fantasy, another crazy news story. Final Fantasy X-3 has a rough story outline complete. Likelihood of being made is not 0. According to that.
That's crazy to me. That's so crazy.
Tetsuya Nomura told Famitsu that Nojima has written a rough outline of what Final Fantasy X-3 would look like. Toriyama adds that the chance of it happening are, quote, not 0, but right now 7 Remake is the focus. I'm going to put this up on screen because some guy, I wish I remembered his name, everybody should look for it. It's called Final Fantasy X 20-year anniversary. Put together this concept video that is insane. Like, they've taken all these environments from Final Fantasy X and rebuilding them within Unreal Engine, and it looks so good. And right at the time that this story dropped too about Final Fantasy X-3, I gotta say, like, as much as I want them to do like a 9 remake, or I know the 6 remake deserves it the most,
10.
I would love to see the world of 10. It's such a nice world to be
and certainly
part
with
of.
the rumors of them doing a cartoon of 9, you would think that they would want to put more focus on 9 as opposed to doing X10, X3.
Yeah. I love Tidus too. I think James Arnold Taylor, he really plays up the voice a lot. And I think if they were to change out the voice actor now and do like 7 remake with a much higher quality voice acting, the story of 10 and how it's told, it's already such a great story. It's one of the best stories told in Final Fantasy. One of the most like established when it comes to lore. There's so much world building there. They did such a fantastic job in that regard. If they were to get like really high quality voice actors, do facial capture, do motion capture, do it all together like they're doing with 16.
Really, the storytelling, get into how much of a racist Waka is.
Yes, really. I mean, it's fine. It's a part of the original too. He's a racist for sure, without a doubt. They don't pull their punches on that. He's definitely a problem for a large portion of 10.
They'd be better all dead.
Yeah,
isn't that right, brother?
Sandblasted grace monkeys. But yeah, I gotta say, I'm excited.
Eh?
I would welcome that world back for sure.
Yeah,
which isn't a surprise since it's connected to Final Fantasy VII. But our final story of the speedrun, HBO's The Last of Us will feature 10 episodes in its first season, and those episodes are entirely focused on the first game. So you will not get the first game split up into 2 seasons. You will not get anything from the second game. The first game is 10 episodes in the first season. Nico Parker is playing Sarah. We actually have some pictures of them together. Her, Pedro Pascal, and I'm drawing a blank on the guy who plays Tommy, but all of them together. We have some new people added to the cast. For instance, Bill has been cast. I don't recall the actor. He was from Chernobyl, though. They got some Chernobyl alumni coming back in the cast, as well as his partner has been cast, who, of course, spoiler alert on the first game, but when you met Bill in the first game, his partner had already committed suicide, but maybe we actually get some flashback stuff with Bill and his partner in the series. And I think you might have said it, Tom, but we have Tess has been casted, and it's Anna Torv from Mindhunter, also Noriko from Heavenly Sword. She is playing Tess, which is really exciting in my opinion. I think she's a great choice for Tess.
Yeah,
this series is going to be amazing.
I was more interested in seeing if we would see Ish.
Ish, oh, I would love that, I would love an episode dedicated to that.
Yeah, if we get Ish, dude. Oh my god.
What a great that's going to be heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah.
If they have the scene, if they show it where they lock themselves, the I can't remember, it wasn't Ish, I don't think, but it was somebody in Ish's group that locked himself and the two children and then killed the children and then let himself die. Oh my god, could you imagine that? Oh god. There's some harrowing stuff they could get into from the first game if they decide to really dive deep. Also, like, everything is pointing towards the production budget on the show being astronomical, like the most expensive Canadian production ever on the scale of Game of Thrones. We're talking like 8 figures for every episode, which could mean 10 million minimum, but I'm betting you could be getting up 20 million, $30 million an episode on this show. Like, they are really banking on this. They're putting a lot into it. So please be excited.
Please be excited.
Please be
excited. You did it.
With 10 seconds to spare.
We did it.
That is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode of Next Level Gamescast. If you enjoyed the show, please join us again live next month on the 4th Sunday of the month. We are moving from 3rd Sunday to 4th Sunday of the month because we have added on Next Level Direct, an audio only discussion of gaming happening on Discord exclusively the 2nd Sunday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss the first episode. It'll be August 8th. Mark your calendars on that one. But if you want to make sure you don't miss these episodes of Next Level Gamescast on Twitch, of course, hit that follow button, turn notifications, make sure you get alerts whenever we go live. Myself with Variety Gaming and Talk Shows. Vince and Tom will put their links in the chat, of course, with their commands. Make sure to follow them on their respective channels. If you want to make sure, or if you want to follow up with an archive of the show, we will, of course, put this up on YouTube, youtube.com/the Level Up Network. We're going to move away from, I think we're going to move away from Next Level Gamescast being a podcast, just because it's not something that's easily consumable, and Next Level Direct will become our podcast available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so look forward to that. And as I said, if you want to make sure you don't miss Next Level Direct, go to Discord. Discord.gg/the Level Up Network. Become a part of the community even when we are not live. We have those interactive segments as well to take part in. One of them that you might have noticed we skipped tonight. We had no hedges, no halftime hedge tonight because nobody is making wagers. Come on, guys, get on our Discord. Go to the hashtag halftime hedge channel and make wagers. Put your seasonal points on the line so that you have a better shot at winning season 3 and getting some of those seasonal prizes. Of course, we also got NLG's Got Game. We got fake fans. If anybody wants to call us out on something we got wrong tonight, and try and, get that seasonal points to take the number 1 spot. Lastly, Tom, I go to you for those major shout outs.
That's right, Drew. We must thank those who go above and beyond to support this show and make it possible. Our producers supporting at $25 and above, either here on Twitch or on Patreon. They are Agent Vincent 4756, somebody who I think is going to do a very good job of supporting my game. Bass 023S and Dirac 11. Once again, friends, if you would like to be a producer of the show, be sure to pledge $25 or above here on Twitch or on Patreon. Drew, back to you.
Specifically, Brock Bazoo23S and Dirac renewed their producer level subscriptions tonight. So thank you so much to both of you, and to Rock with the $3 tippy as well, on top of Evil Resonance's $27 tippy to activate 30-minute after show. So that is happening, guys. We'll go through credits. Stick around. Don't leave the channel. Vince and I will come back with what do you call it? I guess next level after show.
Thank
you so much, Tom, for the shout outs. That is a wrap on season 3, episode 1 of Next Level Gamescast. But we do have one more segment, you guys. It is not over yet, Snake. It's not over yet. We have one more level. Each episode of Next Level Gamescast ends with a final word. And I think Vince, you wanted to take this month.
I wanted to make sure, Tom, you didn't have anything that was on your mind, right?
Oh, no, come on.
No, not on your mind. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. It's gonna be something, short and sweet here. Guys, as you know, I'm a part-time streamer, as it's been, told about this entire night. And the one thing that I'm struggling with right now is, I'm doing streaming, anything like that, and I'm my work schedule is causing me to have a little bit of a lull. Drew, it's like gonna almost hit like what you're doing right now, with almost maybe 2, maybe even 1 with my work schedule. So the one thing, guys, is I was thinking about getting into video content, as in like doing stuff on YouTube and whatnot. And I would like to ask people here, and I'll take even Tom and Drew's opinions here too. Like, what type of content do you guys want to see this guy do on YouTube? Do you want to see game reviews? Do you want to see technical deep dives? Do you want to see just random shit? I don't know.
More
What do you wanna
Ollie
see?
content.
I feel like
More
your
content.
your passion is definitely, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the tech space, and I do think you enjoyed getting involved in that. I think it doesn't have to be like console deep dives or Steam Deck deep dives. It could be gameplay systems and diving into whether it be the motion system in The Last of Us with the seamless transitions between animations, or it seems like if you were willing, there's definitely a space for like deep dives in that if you were to really like do the research, even if it was like once a month kind of thing, or like where you put up like one video once a month, but it has like good production value and good discussion and really dives deep. They're long form content in that way. And I'm not saying like long form like 3 hours. I'm talking long form of like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I think it can really grab an audience. So I think people would maybe like that from you.
Okay. No, it's good. It's kind of just what I want to talk. I wanted just to throw it out there and see what I heard from people. And I see Evil Residence is saying the same thing. There was kind of an idea there, but it's one of those things. You guys know me, very analytical person here, very much. And I like to take, get the temperature of what people want, to kind of before I go with it. So
yeah, man, do it. Give it a shot. It's
man.
tough. I will admit the YouTube space is tough.
No, I get it. I understand exactly what I'm getting into. And it's going to be more for me to kind of get into that creative zone, because like right now, I feel like I just have nothing there,
By the way, dude, you have the opportunity to also do Twitch premieres if you wanted to debut first on Twitch and then follow it up on YouTube, if you would like to do that as well.
I'll
You upload your video and people just watch the recording of it live on Twitch live.
Oh,
and it is a Twitch premieres. It's kind of like YouTube premieres. If you've seen that, it's the same thing but on Twitch. You could do them at the same time. Even you could have them on Twitch and YouTube premiere at the same time, or stagger them. There are definitely ways to collaborate between the two platforms and try to make the best of it. But as far as Ender said, I do agree. Game reviews are very saturated, and it's a hard space to get into. I think if you wanted to have some longevity and build something, I think long form tech analysis and gameplay system analysis and all that would be more something with a future in it for you.
All right. No, I appreciate that, guys. I really do.
You're welcome.
All
right, guys. We did get a $30 tip from Darak as well. He continued it because we're doing a full hour of after show now, so do not go anywhere. But that is a wrap for us. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all the support tonight. We had 10 subs. Hold on a sec. We had 10 subs.
Wow.
Before people leave, potentially, I don't want to let people leave because of that. Let me do another goal wheel spin. We hit our daily sub goal. Everybody in the room receives 600 seasonal points to everybody in the entire room, courtesy of Baz coming at the end with that final sub we needed for the daily sub goal. So we had 10 subs, no follows. So if anybody wants to hit that follow button, now is your chance. Oh my God. Are you okay?
Don't mind me.
What just happened?
I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Did your monitor fall?
Nope. My desk, the bottom of my desk fell out. That was interesting.
Oh shit.
There we go. We're safe. Everything's cool.
Hold on tight.
Oh my god.
I'm so glad we didn't end before
What a
that
way
happened.
to end the show.
Yeah, it's
No,
amazing.
we're good. We're good.
And we had $60 in tips
Everything's
tonight.
fine.
Thank you so much to Evil Resonance and Duroc for the tips tonight. That is a
Talk
wrap.
about Dropbot, yeah.
We hope to see you next month, August 22nd, for Season 3, Episode 2 of Next Level Gamescast. Until then, guys, take care. And as always, don't forget to level up.
Level up.